Time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod. I'm your host, Josh. We have Blake and Reid in the Escape Pod today. We're going to be chatting about Solo during the length of the film, making a commentary track for you guys. So prep your Disney Plus tabs or pop in your Blu-ray because we're about to watch some Solo. Around 8 minutes, we'll do the countdown. I think it's around then. And then after the movie's over, we also stick around and chat Star Wars, naturally, various different subjects on the horizon. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys enjoy the show. Hope you guys enjoy the movie. So let's go meet the boys.
Another happy landing.
All right, welcome back, guys.
Hey,
Glad to be back.
hey Josh, thanks for having me back on here. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun watching these with you so far. I'm glad to
Yeah,
keep
man,
going.
this has been great. I've really enjoyed these commentaries. Just it's been really enjoyable. What do you guys think of Solo?
I think you and I have talked about this a fair bit before. Cause I like visually the movie's awesome. I liked the movie for the most part. There's certain things that bugged me quite a bit about the movie when I saw it and stuff, but they're not big enough that I hated the movie. I still enjoyed the movie. It was still a good Star Wars movie, I thought.
Right.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I would say some of the stuff I was most excited for the movie itself before it came out actually was some of the things I was maybe most let down by. And some of the stuff I thought was going to be really terrible ended up being pretty good. So to get into that, I wasn't expecting Alden Ehrenreich to be the best, but I actually thought he did a good job and I really enjoyed it. Whereas I'm going to blank on his name here because I'm on the spot here. But Lando.
Are you talking? Yeah, Donald Glover.
Yeah, Donald Glover. I had very high expectations for him. Actually, I didn't really like his performance, if I'm honest. I was really excited.
I think he's a pretty good actor, but I agree. I was pretty let down by his performance.
Yeah, because I was really excited when they announced it because I really loved him in Community quite a lot. I thought he did a really great job as Troy, and I was into his music and his stand-up comedy. And this guy is just a man of 1,000 talents, so I just expected it to carry through as Lando as well. But it didn't resonate with me. There were certain moments where I felt like he almost dropped character and he didn't actually feel like Lando, which really threw me off. So,
Dude, I just remember watching that movie and the biggest thing about his character that stood out to me was that he would change accents sometimes.
Yeah, that was a big part of it.
Accent was just too much, and then he would drop the accent in some scenes and not use it. And I'm just that's kind of rough. We kept that in the movie.
No, I totally agree. I think there was a lot of times where he should have dialed it up a lot more, and then it just felt like he had so much potential to still be that character, and then it just didn't come through 100%.
Yeah, I agree. And that's not to say all the scenes were bad. There were some scenes where I'm this is Lando, I buy it. Specifically when he's doing a lot of the gambling stuff, I thought he did a really good job. But there is other scenes, and maybe you could argue that he did it intentionally because he was trying to make it an early Lando, or Lando was trying to come into who he is. Or he was kind of changing, dropping accent and stuff like that. But to me, it just felt like he was messing up as an actor. So it didn't come across that way.
Almost not staying in character kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly how it felt to me. It actually took me out of the movie quite a bit, and I find that really disappointing.
Yeah, it definitely throws you off in those parts.
But to get away from the actors, I actually really enjoyed the setting of this movie, where it was kind of on the Imperial side at the beginning, getting to know like Han and kind of his introduction through the Academy before he started to go on his own way and everything. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think like as a whole, like I really liked the main like themes of the movie and stuff like that. I thought those were a lot of fun. Or just like really cool themes. I think like of all the new Star Wars movies, like other than Rogue One, I have to say like the world building is probably like one of the best in
I totally agree with that.
this one.
It sounds like you're going to say the same thing as me, whereas of the new Disney movies, so excluded Mandalorian, this and Rogue One are hands down the best.
Absolutely, yeah. These two, like even though that they had like problems or whatever, like I don't remember much, but I think I had heard at one point they had problems with both of these movies during production or something like that.
Yeah, they both had quite a bit of production issues, and they both changed directors halfway through.
Yeah, and even in spite of that, both of these movies are hands down, at least in my opinion, better than all of the sequel movies that have come out.
That's funny. Actually, Josh wouldn't be surprised if you jump in here and say like maybe it was a good thing that there was two directors that kind of helped keep it all together, as opposed to just giving J.J. Abrams the full reins.
Yeah, you know, that's a problem I've had with a lot of these movies, is that the directors have just been given way too much freedom. And ironically enough, that's exactly what happened with Solo, is like the directors were just given way too much freedom. And we're talking about the guys who did the Lego movie here, where they was, you know, they're primarily all about the comedy.
Yeah, and, like even that was just such a weird casting. I mean,
it was
casting, but
it was
like,
as far as a director's choice, it was always
choice.
kind of an odd choice. Yeah, Phil. What am I? Was it Phil Lord and?
That's what I'm remembering as Phil Lord.
Chris, is it Chris Miller? Something Phil. Hold on,
that sounds right. I know it's been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yes, yeah, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Yeah, of course. And then they also did Into the Spider-Verse more recently. But yeah, I mean, they so they of course attempted this film, and then Ron Howard came in, and you know, reports were that they had to redo most of the film. And you know, it honestly, like I was pretty terrified that this was going to be a pretty bad movie. And then aside from like the little nitpicks I have about the casting, I think the overall direction of like where they took the film in the end was like amazing. Like it blew me away as far as like what I expected. Yeah. I think it's one of the best that Disney's actually put out.
And it's really cool that I know in these podcasts we talk about the Clone Wars all the time, but this is really cool. This was the first movie to recognize Clone Wars
it was.
In a theatrical setting.
It was, yeah. It was the first film to really, aside from A New Hope, which at that time, you know, the Clone Wars wasn't even a thing yet. They'd still, I mean, it was a thing in the story, but it wasn't like an actual show that we could watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Solo was the first one that actually acknowledged a big story point in the Clone Wars that then, you know, brought a very famous character back, and then we were actually able to see the result of that on the silver, I guess the silver screen, right? And so yeah, a lot of people were just confused, I think, when they went to the theater.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of funny because you can almost argue that that's why they didn't do it for a really long time, is because so many people would be out of the loop. But then, like I'm sure constantly, fans have been following like all the different media, have been wanting exactly this for the longest time, and they kept kind of avoiding it, not wanting the confusion for just the average fan, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the character that we're talking about? Because I've seen Clone Wars, so I don't know.
Have you not seen Solo yet? No, you've seen Solo, right, Reid?
I've seen Solo, but who are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about Maul.
Oh, Darth Maul. Okay.
Yeah.
Rubbo legs, Darth Maul.
Yeah. So for a lot of people who never really watched Clone Wars and understood kind of how he comes back, and you know, even that he comes back in the first place, it was like, hey, hold on a second, like he got cut in half, like what's he doing back? You know, like and
I feel like people, like the average moviegoer, felt the same way about that as Palpatine being brought back for episode 9. They're like, wait, what? Right. Wasn't he dead? Like, why are they just pulling this guy out of nowhere and shoving him in this movie?
Right, and I think that's one of the things I think that really sits sour in my stomach still is the fact that, I mean, we all know that bringing back Palpatine was a last minute change. I mean, the whole rewrite thing that happened, the shift of directors, everything. You know, this was never supposed to happen. It was clearly not supposed to happen based on the previous two films. and that was just a last minute thing. Whereas the Maul storyline and like how that kind of gradually came about. I mean, a lot of viewers have had the chance to catch up on that storyline and actually understand why he's been brought back and how he's brought back, and we're given time with that character as far as his resurrection goes and the plot as to why he's back in the first place, right? Yeah. Whereas Palpatine, he just pops up and he's there. Yeah. Apparently this whole thing was his plan and he's just back. You know?
Just never heard of him this entire
time. Exactly. Whereas Maul is it's on the other end of the spectrum as far as resurrections go, because yes, he is back, but he's like struggling to hold on to anything. Like he's struggling to hold on to any kind of power that he can get. And I love that they actually acknowledge the fact that during this time period, he would be alive. He would be running this crime syndicate, because in Rebels, the animated series later on, this is where he ends up. So it was a nice little insert to kind of say like, hey, yes, this is to award all the fans that want that interlacing feel between the films and the animated series.
It's like
right?
Up to that point, I would say, and even that was just kind of like throwing everyone a bone, because like sometimes it does really feel like it's in the same universe, but you never really see the connection. It's always like a one way flow, right? Where it's like the movies affect the TV shows, but the TV shows never have any effect on the live features.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's nice to actually have and not just like a ship in the background like what we got with Rogue One. I mean, that was cool. It was cool, but it's like, no, we want more than that. It's like, we want more than that. It just like we don't want the cameos. We want an actual, you know.
You say like, that, but Darth Maul is definitely a cameo.
Okay, he is, but it's like it's the kind of cameo that actually sticks out like a sore thumb, right? Whereas the ghost in Rogue One,
it like freeze frame and like step through it to find it.
Yeah, and like hardly anyone would notice that.
What is this?
The ghost is like the main ship of the Rebel crew that the animated series Star Wars Rebels takes place around. Their ship is in Rogue One in the background flying around. It's parked outside the Yavin base. So it was a nice little Easter egg they dropped in saying like, hey, this ship is from Star Wars Rebels, right? But it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Like if you haven't seen the show.
Yeah, didn't notice.
If you haven't seen the show, then it's not something you can actually catch, right? But that's what I mean as far as like that kind of cameo doesn't do it justice, right? Like I want the kind of cameo that like kind of slaps viewers in the face, is like, hey, look, you're missing part of the story. If you want the rest of the story, go watch that show. So it's cool when that happens, because then it makes like the saga more of a saga, right?
For sure. And you think it would make people more interested in actually checking out the other media as well, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, then they get, then you get the full picture, right? So I mean, it's like the Marvel films. Like when they did Infinity War and Endgame, I love the fact that they didn't have time to re-explain what happened in the last 20 movies.
Yeah, for sure.
And they didn't do it anyways. And like they actually were successful at making a film that people went to the theater, saw it, having probably seen most of the previous films, enjoyed it anyways, understood it. All the little things that they may have missed in the other films, they'll find more enjoyment out of that final film later when they go back and watch those films. And it's like, oh, hey, that has some correlation with this thing over here. Whereas like, I feel like sometimes that just doesn't really, like they need to take more risks like that with these Star Wars films, right? Because
So question for you guys. Do you think they're going to make any kind of like sequel to this one?
That's tough. I know Yeah, that's the problem. I feel like they had planned to, especially the way it ends, that they had wanted to make a whole spin-off series. But
hadn't they like literally like titled like Rogue One and this one like a Star Wars story? Like weren't they going to make like a bunch of Star Wars movies that they would classify as a Star Wars story?
Yeah, so there's definitely lots of box office issues that got in to do with that, because their plan was to do a main saga film and then a Star Wars story movie, like a spin-off of some sort in between. So then, because production usually takes about 2 years from start to finish of making the movie, so then they have one coming out every year, but then they had 2 flops in a row. So there was some kind of like background talking, and Bob Iger put out an announcement saying that they're going to pull back. They think it was too much Star Wars, and fans couldn't handle it, so they're gonna pull back and just do one movie every 2 years or whatever.
Yep.
So wait, so Rogue One and this movie tanked at the box office?
No, Rogue One actually did really well. It got over $1 billion, but this one, it didn't make $1 billion, and it cost twice as much as every other movie because they switched directors halfway through.
Oh,
yeah, that
jeez.
was their own mistakes. Yeah.
Solo was actually the only Star Wars movie to lose money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's rough.
I believe that's the case. Other than that, or just barely cleared its budget. And this is before DVD sales and everything, or Blu-ray.
I think a lot of people are hoping that at some point we'll get a Disney Plus series that perhaps follows up on the film. Maybe it would be a shame to kind of get a follow-up story in the form of literature of any kind. Not to like disrespect the books, but I mean, you know, when you have such a big film like that, and then any chances of getting a sequel are canceled, like you don't want to see those stories end up in something you have to read, because then 90% of people that went and saw the film aren't going to know that story, right? So I really do hope that they make something like a 10 episode single season that maybe wraps up Kira's storyline, kind of makes relevance to Maul's have to do with the Crimson Dawn stuff, and then maybe also follow up on the Solo Chewbacca team up that they go over to meet Jabba for whatever crew that they heard at the very end of the film. They heard of that job, right? So it would be nice to get something, but I don't know if we're ever going to get anything.
I actually think a TV series would be a good idea. Like, I think that would like play in really well, like to the Han Solo's character and like the different like relationships with that he has and stuff going on, like with Kira, and then probably the future conflicts with Maul and stuff like that. I think that would be pretty easy to make a TV series out of. But yeah, like you said, like who knows, right?
Exactly. All right. So without further ado, I guess let's turn this movie on. Can you guys see the live stream there?
Yeah, Captain.
See the black window?
Yep, I can see her.
All right, cool. Okay, so hopefully everyone at home there, if you guys have your playbacks ready to go, I'm sitting on triple zeros here. So I'll do the countdown in 3, 2, 1, play. We got the Lucasfilm logo up there. You guys can see that? Yep.
I need to make a correction. I just looked up the costs and the box office, and it did not lose money, but it did make nearly as much as everything else did.
Mm-hmm.
It made 400,000 or 400 million worldwide compared to everything else, which was over $1 billion, and it cost 250 million, which was actually more than Force Awakens.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Really, this cost more than Force Awakens, eh?
5 million, yeah.
You know what's interesting about this film? Because a lot of people were kind of wondering, kind of like Rogue One as well. It's like, how is it going to start off?
No opening crawl.
Yeah, and I really like how they took the same font and color as the long time ago, and they did like a little text entry. I really like it.
I thought so too. I think they did the same thing for Rogue One, did they not? They kind of like made it like a theme for the spinoffs.
They did something similar, I think.
Where it's like, it's Star Wars, but it's not like the saga style.
Right.
Man, I gotta say, of the entire movie, this is my most favorite design. Like, this Corellia is just so cool, the way it's all thought out.
Yeah, it is.
They did a killer job, like with the worlds and stuff like this in this movie. Yeah,
so well done.
Was a really good like opening scene. They did a killer job with this planet.
Mm-hmm.
They did a lot of live action for this movie too. There's a lot of props and stuff. Like the car he's really driving, cool. That's a real car.
Oh.
Yeah, what is it they used again? Was it a Dodge of some kind? Like it was like a Dodge Charger or something.
I thought it was a Ford frame, and then they just built an entire custom body on it.
Oh yeah.
I think.
I love that speeder so much. I ended up buying like the Lego set for it.
The book.
Nice.
You like the book design, where it's like a book.
It's pretty awesome.
It's got
like the curved side and the other side's like square. Yeah, I really love it.
It was cool.
I feel like it's very like Star Wars to have kind of an like a non asymmetrical design. Yeah.
man, because like this compared to every other movie coming out, where it's all like everything is CG, they're just people on green screens, and then just like here you go, the natural lighting, everything. Oh, I love it. I love it so much, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think one of the only complaints about the visual aesthetic of this film that I've heard from people is that it's a very dark film.
Yeah,
Like visually.
Like visually, like
but
just,
you could.
just hard to
I
see
don't
kind of
mind it,
visually.
though.
I don't mind it either, because like it's funny. That's actually because like I find that's actually an issue with a lot of modern films. It's because of CG, right? They have to light everything flat, so anything dark is done in a fake environment. Whereas a lot of traditional films up until the 2000s were all done with natural lighting, and so you get crisper, blacker blacks. Everything else modernly is very washed out.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think a lot of people with their OLEDs tended to find this movie very, very, on the darker side. Because black is like true black on an OLED TV. So
right. This music's kind of prequel-y.
Yeah, it is. The composer for this film was John Powell.
Okay.
And John Williams did one song in the whole soundtrack. Yeah, he did the main theme for Solo, and then John Powell took that and ran with it through the whole film and did the rest of the soundtrack.
Okay, I can see that.
Hey, quick question for you. Is there a way for me to improve the stream quality?
It is kind of crunchy.
How's your internet? Grainy. How's you guys' internet?
I'm on an Ethernet, so it should be pretty good.
Same.
Okay, because I'm streaming to max quality.
Oh, that's better.
Okay,
that's way better.
I lowered the frames per second.
That's okay.
I was giving you 60, so now you're getting 30.
Yeah,
the way I really like this
snake slug thing.
Yeah,
yeah, it's funny. If they definitely wanted to go with something really Jabba-y, but not Jabba, right?
Yeah,
right.
It makes me wonder then why all these crime syndicates have these leaders that are like immobile, disgusting, rich creatures.
Like, how do they exercise any form of control? Like they're basically slimy worms. Like you could just blast them or punch them in the face and it's just over.
Put an electrical cable in his little pool there it's sitting in. Done.
Yeah, like with Jabba, that always blew my mind. I'm like, the dude can't move.
Yeah, exactly, right?
How did he do anything?
It's money. Money's power. I think it all comes down to they could pay other people to protect them. So if you kill them, you're going to get killed too, right?
That's a huge commitment to loyalty, though. Like, I mean,
But there's one problem: is how do they get that money to get the power in the first place?
Yeah,
they can't move.
Yeah, this is true.
Gambling, I guess.
I love this scene with The Rock.
Yeah. I love.
I forgot about that scene.
Yeah, I love that so much.
Oh, this is cool. Yeah, I forgot.
It's the kind of line that you don't expect from the character, right? Like, and you just made a clicking sound with your mouth.
Yeah, just calling him out on it. That's really funny.
Yeah. Well, you just don't expect it at all.
Like,
really tongue in cheek.
Yeah. And I love how like coveted thermal detonators are. Like she calls them out because it's like pretty rare that you see a thermal detonator because it's such a explosive. So flat out, it's like you don't have a freaking thermal detonator.
It doesn't make sense. It's also interesting because it's like a callback to Return of the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a call forward.
He's holding up
a foreshadow. A foreshadow.
Yeah.
I wonder if... Oh, here's something I've never thought of before. No, it couldn't have been. I was going to say it'd be really cool if it didn't work here for Han, but then later in that movie, he suggested the idea to do it. But at that point, he's frozen in carbonite, so unless he had told him before that.
Right. Yeah.
It's like his plan finally worked like 30 years later.
That would be interesting. But they did do that in Clone Wars when Anakin has to fly under the radar with his breakout crew to the Citadel.
Yeah.
Him and Obi-Wan and the rest of the clones and Ahsoka. They all carbonite themselves to get past the scanners.
Yeah.
And so that's how Vader knows that freezing Han Solo would actually work and not kill him.
Oh, right. Yeah. They all connected it together.
Exactly.
One thing I don't know if I like, though, is how they'll progress one step further, and now every bounty hunter has a carbon freezer in his ship like 10 years later.
Yeah, when I saw that in The Mandalorian, I wasn't too...
I'm like,
I was kind of like iffy about it.
It's such a one-off thing. Like, how did anyone hear about it? And how did the technology progress that quickly? It seems kind of weird.
Yeah, that was the one thing about that entire show, I think, that I kind of felt a little unsure about.
But it sure is convenient.
Yeah.
Turn everyone into cards, right?
Yeah, no, totally.
This is one of the things I like about this movie too, is that like with the world building is that we see like a bunch of different things like with regards to the Empire that we didn't really see before. Like in this movie. So like we just saw a type of, I guess that guy was still technically some type of storm.
There's TIE fighters there on the left right there. They're manufacturing them, right?
Oh yeah. But then like later too, like when he becomes a part of the infantry, like I mean they don't dive into it too much in this movie, but like it's, to me it's really interesting that like the Imperial infantry is a completely different thing from like the stormtroopers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like this massive infrastructure.
Yeah. I love this.
Just shy.
Yeah.
Sushi.
Man, those dogs are so
These
ugly.
dogs, man.
These worm dogs.
You know,
like,
they actually remind me of alien versions of pugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is cool. So you can actually see how the Empire actually deals with just regular citizens, because we've never really seen that before. We just see them dealing with rebels.
That's a good point. Yeah, you actually see them like policing.
Yeah, and it's super Nazi.
Oh yeah, dude, like 100%.
Like papers.
Papers, please. I want your papers.
Yeah, exactly. That's crazy. It's like straight up like a refugee camp in World War II.
Oh yeah.
Yep, totally.
Snatchers.
Crimson Dawn or the Hot Cartel. There you go.
Emilia Clarke is great in this movie.
Yeah.
I actually forgot she was in it.
Yeah. Well, this was actually the first time I'd actually ever seen her in a movie, because I never watched Game of Thrones when this movie came
Oh, really?
out. I've watched it all now and stuff, so I know.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny seeing her without blonde hair.
This is also funny showing that the Imperials are super like on point, like they're very anal about everything, but they're also like really corrupt.
Oh yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It's interesting to see an Imperial like this in this particular state of mind where they're being bribed, because you never see that before.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
It was at this point in the movie that I was more or less sold on Alden's performance as Han Solo. Because I really did want that Anthony Ingruber guy to play the character.
I was waiting for you to bring him up.
Yeah.
Anthony
I was Anthony Ingruber.
That is. What has he been in? Something
He's a solo Harrison Ford impressionist who played a young version of Harrison Ford in Age of Adeline, and he did like a spot on job.
He just looks physically like Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
honestly.
he does.
Like,
That's
if you
really
actually
cool.
look at pictures of Harrison at the same age that he is, they just look like the same person. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he nails the voice too. So he actually applied to be Solo in this movie.
And the fans found him and really made it like well known. So there's like no way that Lucasfilm didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes me wonder if maybe part of the shunning of this film by people was in part because of It's worth noting that the propaganda posters on the wall of this particular place are the same exact posters that they used in Star Wars Rebels.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The connection there. It's pretty subtle.
It's very subtle, but yeah, I love how they did that.
Yeah. How did you guys
that
like
pissed off so many people?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't like that he just got given it. Honestly, I thought.
Okay.
I never questioned him like choosing it for himself or anything. I just assumed it was just his name. I didn't know he was given this name, right?
Yeah,
right.
That was kind of meh.
Like, weird. Like,
they could have just called him Han Solo right from the beginning, and I would have been fine with that. Like, they never had to bring up that he was given to it by just some random Imperial guy.
Honestly,
I love how that guy just blows up.
Okay, so this
boom.
That kind of bothered me about this movie. Is that like I think in some deleted scenes they have some stuff of him at the actual Imperial Academy and stuff like that, but I really wish they had showed like more of him actually being like trained as a pilot at the Imperial Academy.
Right.
Like I was really kind of miffed that they just threw like this.
It's weird that they cut it, right?
Sequence and stuff, but yeah, I'm like, why did they cut something that's
like you never actually see him trained as a pilot?
Yeah. Because that's his whole thing. Oh, I'm gonna be a pilot, blah blah blah. And like, not only is this like, to me, I think this is kind of confusing because then now they have to explain like the whole, like, oh, how did he end up here from being a pilot and stuff like that.
It's true.
And it's such an important part of his character in like a lot of the movies because he mentions it so many times that he's like trained as an Imperial pilot and stuff like that.
That's so true. And they just skip over that entire thing. Yeah.
Just skip the whole thing over.
That was definitely an oversight. I'm sure they cut it just because of length. But they probably should have cut this instead of the other thing.
Right.
Because, this is, to me, from a plot point, like, this part is, like, a lot more confusing. Like, they didn't need this whole section with him as an Imperial soldier or anything like that. Like, I think it's cool world building, but to me, it's just kind of unnecessary. Like, it would have made more sense if he was a pilot and like flying around as a pilot, and then maybe like experience something or something happens that like leads to him, get
like a moral decision. He decides to help someone and he has to like run for it or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is just way more complicated to me than I thought it felt like it needed to be.
I agree with that. It wasn't a great decision. What's funny is what you're describing, I think, was the original backstory for Han Solo before it was like canonized in film.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I actually quite like the way they did it because the whole shift of him actually doing something morally correct comes at the very end of the movie, right? So, at this point, like his turning point is actually being introduced to this life of kind of scum and villainy, right? By these guys doing this job, and he gets pulled away from his duties, and he's like, hey, these guys are doing something I want to be a part of. Like, I want in on this. I don't know what it is yet, but I want in on this. So I actually like that they changed it if it was different from before, but it's a minor thing. Like, this whole sequence is very It's very short compared to the rest of the film, but I love what he says there. Is there a planet
totally
where they
just calls them out?
yeah.
Like, what you're saying makes no sense. Man, I just keep thinking that's World War II, right? So it's like, I wonder what the Germans were thinking. They're like destroying France, like going into Belgium. It's like, we have to protect the people. It's like, are we just like killing everyone and taking their land?
yeah, exactly.
Like, are we the bad guys? Oh man, what was that? I was listening to something the other day, or talking to somebody, and they referenced this really funny like video with these Nazis, and they're like, it's kind of like British humor, and they're sitting in the trenches, and one of them turns to the other guy, just like, he looks at the guy's hat, and there's like a skull and crossbones on it, right? And he's like, "Are we the baddies? Just wonder now if we're the baddies," because they're wearing all this like evil stuff on their gear.
Yep.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely World War One is. Yeah, I mean, they literally had those, or like the Christmas truce or whatever, but where they were just like, "Why are we fighting each other? Let's just let's take a break."
Yeah, let's have Christmas. Yeah, I do agree with what you were saying earlier, Reese. Like, him throwing out that line to explain why he's not a pilot just isn't enough.
Yeah,
Just doesn't
like having a mind of my own kind of thing.
Yeah, like that's one of the things. Like, I still think like from a plot point, like I don't have a problem with this stuff or whatever, but I think it just would have been so much better because
to show him training as a pilot. He's this great pilot. You never see him actually in the Imperial Academy learning as to be a pilot.
That's a good point. I wish they changed this whole thing to be more like space oriented, and you actually see him as a pilot that gets kind of canned, right? So they actually did have a scene that was cut from the movie where that actually happens.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Oh right. Yeah. Sorry.
This is cool though. I will say the introduction to this character, because I don't know if we're doing spoilers, is friggin' amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I was pretty happy with this part. I thought it was awesome.
It was done pretty well. Yeah.
It's like rancor noises.
Yeah, that was funny. The rancor noise. I was like, that doesn't make sense.
And then it's like the chain moving, it's real creepy.
Yeah. Just the disgusting mud and stuff everywhere too.
Oh yeah,
it's very classic Star Wars to have this kind of like monster scene.
Yeah, for sure.
The like underground like this thing with the trap door.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like fall in, it's like D&D.
Like they love their pit monsters in Star Wars, man.
Yeah, they do. It's just such a great way to trap your enemies.
Yeah.
Bah!
I love how this plays out too.
I know. Like, also, what just looking at it, thing like, what hope does he have in out strengthening it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also, I'm curious, are Wookiees herbivores?
I don't think so. I mean, they got pretty sharp teeth, bro.
I don't know, actually.
No, I thought they had flat teeth. I think they have canines, but
no, they have canines, yeah.
But they're not like
they're
all
probably omnivores. We'll just say they do both.
Yeah.
Actually, I think. Okay, now. I don't know if it's original.
Yeah, I speak a little. Dumb Wookiee. That's a good place to start.
Right?
In episode 8, we did get a shot of Chewbacca eating a porg on a stick.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So there you go. I guess they do eat meat. I was wondering if he was like forced to eat humans and stuff. But before that, he was a herbivore.
Yeah.
But this is really funny how they first chat, and Han knows some Shriwook. But where on earth did he learn that?
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Being a non-educated
Right?
street kid.
This is so good. Oh my gosh. Whoops. Rose them out anyways.
That ship design is super cool.
Drags them along. Very good friends. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
right?
Trust me. I love the infamous Han Solo line.
Right?
This right here is Jon Favreau's character, right?
Yeah, he did the voice to it.
Yeah.
So, for those at home listening, the voice of this character is the guy who directs Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian, Iron Man, Jungle Book.
Yeah, and did the voice of Pre Vizsla in Clone Wars.
Oh no way! He did Jungle Book.
Yeah, yeah. He plays Happy in the Iron Man, the MCU.
I have to say, out of all of the new like Disney remakes, I think Jungle Book was the best one out of all of them that they've done so far.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, well, and like the reason I say that is because
I disagree. I'd say Aladdin.
that was my least favorite out of all of them. So bad. But like I don't mind most of them, with the exception of Aladdin. I thought most of the other ones have been pretty good. But like I think what I liked about the Jungle Book one is that it was like way more original than it was way more original than all the other ones. Like when I watched Beauty and the Beast, for example, it was pretty much just like watching the original. Like there wasn't a lot that was actually different about it.
Mm.
But like with Jungle Book, it was more or less the same story, but they did
This
like
is
a whole bunch of
hilarious.
different stuff. Oh yeah,
The shower scene.
you just gotta.
Yeah, just like having a moment in the shower together.
Yeah.
So funny.
There's always a shower scene, right, Blake?
Right? That's right. It's not a movie without a shower scene. And just the settings of this movie, gorgeous.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, like this movie, like they did a great job with like the settings.
Oh yeah.
Like visually, this movie was amazing.
I wonder how many times Chewbacca heard that in his lifetime. Come
Yeah,
on.
I wonder.
How old is Chewbacca at this point?
Pretty old. I mean, he was a
Yeah.
warrior in Revenge of the Sith, right? So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
he's an adult Wookiee at that point. They have said, I think it's something like 300 years. Is that right?
Yeah,
Or maybe
let me look this
Maybe
up.
that's the full lifespan of a Wookiee is 300 something.
So he's okay. A simple Google search places him at 234 years old.
There you
So
go.
it's got to be around
Yeah.
there somewhere.
What's the full lifespan of a Wookiee?
And in the trailer for Solo, A Star Wars Story, Chewie confirms his age by saying he's 190 years old.
There you go.
Awesome.
Right? Yeah, I do believe he says this somewhere in the film. I think. I think he says it in on the Kessel Run scene when they were talking about their age or something like that.
Bosk.
Cloud one.
I like that. Bosk.
Yeah, this little name drop there.
Yeah, it was a good reference actually. I really like that. Woody Harrelson is perfect for this movie.
He is.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
actually just going to talk about him. Like, is his character? I think is it's friggin' perfect for this movie. The
It
classic
is,
like
yeah.
old western gunslinger kind of bounty hunter.
Right. Beckett, yeah.
Yeah, he's probably like my favorite character of this movie, honestly. Like I think they
Oh,
did
yeah.
such a good job because they like, yeah, the way they did his character and everything like that, he couldn't have been a more perfect mentor for like a
Han.
young Han
Yeah.
Solo.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yep. You can see by the end of this movie that some of what is Beckett kind of rubs off on Han a little bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because he does become a lot more of like a cowboy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
See, that's what I really liked about one of the canceled Clone Wars arcs that they showed a little bit for one of the celebrations. That Cad Bane would have taken Boba under his wing for an arc before they actually had a standoff, and Boba would have come out on top and then become the greatest bounty hunter. Because throughout the Clone Wars, Cad Bane was the greatest bounty hunter of all
Yeah,
time.
that's right.
And Cad Bane has this real Western kind of swagger about him, right? Big hat,
Well, he just
spurs.
yeah, just straight up pulled
Yeah.
out of a western. Like that's
Yeah.
100% where Dave Filoni got him from. Just
Exactly. So I
he's-
really love
he's
that
a bounty
they kind of,
hunter from Old West who they turned blue.
yeah, and so I love how they took that in a direction where he takes Boba under his wing, kind of trains him up, and then you see that kind of rub off on Boba a little bit, because that's when he does get the spurs and he gets that flair, right?
That's
because
right, yeah.
Django is nothing as well. I mean,
He's
aside
just
from like the
Mandalorian, right?
yeah, like aside from the gun
The
belt that he's
blasters?
got with the dual blaster, aside from that, like there really isn't too much more Western about him. Like Boba's the more cowboy of the two of them easily, right?
Oh, for sure.
So it makes you wonder, it's like, where does he get that flair? And it's actually because of this Cad Bane arc. So I like where they
It's
went
pretty cool.
with the relationship between Solo and Beckett.
Yeah.
I really wish they had finished that arc.
Yeah, I really wish they had too. I mean, I wish they had finished the Clone Wars in general, like all the stuff that we still didn't get, but at least they gave us a finale. So,
True.
Throw us a bone. But
This train design is pretty cool, by the way. They're on like both sides of the track. It's like,
oh yeah,
That was such a cool like Star Wars thing to do. Like it was
Yeah.
awesome.
they made a 2-car Lego set for this, I believe, right?
oh wow, was that a proper train that ran?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's
Oh.
super cool.
I'm gonna have to check that out now. That sounds cool.
I love how this starts to feel like a Star Wars D&D heist.
It does.
Like you're playing a tabletop game.
Like so I loved this part of the movie, but when those like marauders come in, that like those marauders are one of my main kind of issues with this movie, or that's like one of the main
Right.
subplots that I really disliked about this movie, and I thought they really didn't do a great job with.
Yeah, I guess you can kind of see what they were going for, but it didn't. I agree with that. It didn't really feel like it delivered.
That line. Which line was this? Sorry.
Oh, we're talking about the Marauders that show up. It just
Oh yeah.
it could have been done a little better.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. It felt a little out of place.
I mean, the twist was so obvious.
Yeah.
It was interesting, that's for sure. But the whole, I don't know. I feel like it could have been presented a little differently.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I didn't have a problem with there being like, some sort of like notorious like nemesis or whatever showing up and like,
Yeah.
ruining the heist and stuff like that. Like that wasn't really the issue. It was just like how they continued to like portray those marauders throughout the movie. Like what kind of killed it for me the most was just like the reveal at the end of the movie that it was
Yeah.
literally like a 13-year-old that was leading them. Basically, I was like, that was just such a bad casting move. I
Yeah.
didn't get it at all. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah.
tie Han Solo into like the rebellion or something like that in some way. Like they could have done a better job,
That would be cool, yeah, if they just had him like rebels, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also don't need
it would
it.
have been early stage rebels at this point, I think, because we already saw they were just forming right at the end of Sith.
Exactly. At the time, this would be called like a rebel cell. Yeah, and that's actually something that the Rebels animated show got into, was like all these little groups were operating individually, and then at the end of season 1 is when you get the first foreshadowing moment of these rebel cells actually coming together, and that's why it's called the Rebel Alliance, because with all these cells that operate together. Yeah.
I mean, even then though, I don't even think they really needed to like have him tied in any way to the Rebels, because it's in New Hope. That's when he decides to like be a part of the Alliance, right?
That's right.
And like come back and help them out and stuff.
Did they ever say if Han knew of the existence of the Rebels at that point? Like, was he aware of them?
Like when he met Luke and Ben in the cantina.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he knew about it. I think it was a movement at the time that a lot of people were aware of. Because of course the events,
but I don't know if it was ever explicitly said.
The entire events of Star Wars Rebels takes place before that, right? So, and Rogue One. So I think a lot of it is like, news has gotten out there about that movement. So
I'm sure they've all heard the propaganda of the quote-unquote terrorists that are attacking different parts of the galaxy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of the time, the Empire actually swayed some of the politics of the rebels attacking as to a reason to have like the Empire, be either their defense on any planet where an attack took place or whatever, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. It's cool. They're like probe droids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I always thought her mask looked way too similar to Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah. Like that's what I mean. Like they could have pursued like this type of character like in so many different ways.
Yeah.
There's just so much that was just really uninteresting and unoriginal about it to me.
Right.
And they really don't even show up in the movie that much now that I think about it, because there's
Not
this
really.
scene and then they come in again at the
finale.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's
so
kind of
just
weird, right?
Unnecessary.
Yep.
I think that might have been an issue to do with the two directors, where they were trying to shoehorn all the storylines together.
Yeah, that's possible. I think if Ron Howard had his way from the beginning, I think it's possible casting would have been different for certain characters as well.
I could see that, but I am honestly thinking that the reveal of the leader being a 13-year-old girl was decided by Kathleen Kennedy, and that was going to be a thing no matter who was directing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it seems like time and time again, we see them desperately trying to get female fans into Star Wars, and it's just not working very well because I just feel like it's not the same audience.
It's targeting a smaller audience.
Yeah, and it's not to say there aren't, and there aren't women that are into it, but just like percentile-wise, a lot more boys that men are into it.
Of course, yeah. And it's like no disrespect to those fans either, but I mean, like when it comes to making money, it's like you target the primary audience here.
That's
right?
always been my thought too. So like, I'm not opposed to them like throwing in some stuff, but I feel like they've been targeting that audience for a really long time now, pushing super hard.
Yeah.
It's
becoming quite obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that same payoff just, for audience wise, just it's not there.
Yeah, like I don't get like when Kathleen Kennedy came out and said like, "Oh yeah, we have no interest," or like we're not going to tailor to Star Wars fans and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. I'm like,
that makes no
how
sense.
does that makes sense? Like just from a simple like business perspective.
Exactly.
Like, you're trying,
and then you look at Marvel Studios on the other side of the fence, and they're catering what fans want, and it's like
they're doing well,
so much better. Yeah.
I mean, you look within the Star Wars cinematic universe itself, or Star Wars media. Dave Filoni, I guarantee you, caters to fans and comes up with cool stuff that he knows Star Wars fans are going to like.
Mm-hmm.
And all of his stuff has been the best stuff that's came out. So,
yeah,
I mean,
it really has. It really has.
Like when J.J. Abrams did Force Awakens, like even though Force Awakens wasn't like that original, like I was still really excited that J.J. Abrams was coming on and directing that movie because I thought he had done a fantastic job with the Star Trek movies. Oh yeah, this is a super cool scene. But like with the Star Trek movies, like they did an awesome job with those ones. Like I really liked all three of the new Star Trek movies that they'd come out with and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I didn't even know hardly anything about Star Trek. And
that's a lot of people.
Like my cousin though, who was like a huge Star Trek fan, he was really happy with them too. Like he thought they did a fantastic job, and they didn't try to force like a lot of that SJW stuff down their throats. Like there was still like parts of it, but like.
Yeah, well, it was kind of before that big push came, right? So that unfortunately,
that's true.
It was like right after I'd say Force Awakens came out is when the big push for SJW or feminism or all that sort of stuff really started hitting home quite commonly in media.
That's a cool foreshadowing moment. I
like
that.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, it's funny how he's seeing this and then he still goes and decides to do a deal with Jabba.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't take the warning, right?
Yeah. Something he's never really been good at.
Yeah, so true.
He's not a good listener. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah,
no, definitely
not his strength as a person.
There's Chewbacca's new belt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's got the round cylinders and not the square ones.
And it's got a Y at the top there. Yeah, both shoulders.
Oh yeah.
And Josh, it's not a belt; it's a bandolier.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah. I call it a belt because Lando called it a belt in the Robot Chicken. The Robot Chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
a nice ammo belt there, Chewbacca.
I could one of those for my shotgun or my rifle. That would be really funny if I was walking around with like a bandolier and my bullets. Like that'd be.
I want to point out quick though that they actually went on set for these shots. They didn't do it in a green screen room.
That's
right.
awesome.
I think I've seen some behind the scenes photographs of that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like,
yeah, they actually like flew. I don't know where. I think it was like Greenland. I think. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they actually got the cast and crew, everyone out there, and they actually properly filmed the shots.
Get some pretty stellar atmosphere when you. Yeah.
Yeah, like
You can
that's
see
one
the
of the
difference. You really
Yeah,
can.
you really can.
like,
Yeah.
that's what that like this movie like that was one of my things is that this was like a good movie like as far as like there was stuff about like with subplots and that kind of thing that I didn't like or like certain characters that I had issues with, but it like as far as like a movie goes, like this is a good movie.
Yep.
It's funny. You hear that from lots of people, and yet it was like the worst performing at the box office.
Yeah.
It's like
It
people who saw it loved it, and a lot of people just didn't bother.
yeah.
And what is the deal with this thing?
I've never understood.
It's like singing Toad in a tank.
Yeah, like yeah.
Like, look at it, it's just like floating in a tank there. It's like a head from Futurama.
Yeah, totally.
Like they try to do one of these scenes in literally like every Star Wars movie, like the bar and stuff like that with the weird singing and the music and stuff.
It's getting a little overplayed, if I'm honest. It does feel like there's a bit of a recipe at this point.
Yeah. Well, I guess that they had a point too, though, that like this, like they just have had too many Star Wars movies like come out. Like when this one came out, like that's probably a big part of like what we were talking about earlier. That's probably
don't
a big
forget,
reason why it tanked at the box office.
This came out right after the other one.
Force Awakens.
No, that's right. Last Jedi. I was getting the last two mixed up there.
Oh, and yeah,
So it was immediately after Last
sucked.
Jedi.
Yeah.
So just judging on a lot of people's opinions online at the time, probably had an effect on the moviegoers.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna look at what the rating is on the tomato thing.
I believe it's called tomatometer.com.
Yeah, that one. Or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, tomato meter.
Pretty sure it's thermometer.
Thermometer. That's a good one.
All right, so the audience scores for Last Jedi isn't as bad as I thought it would be.
Well, after the fallout, they also started to handicap a lot of movies, so you couldn't hate them as much as you could. It's not a free market system.
Oh, are they changed? Did they bank a bunch of change? That kind of stupid.
Yeah, Disney contacted a bunch of them, and they just started deleting negative reviews.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, it was a big scandal.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah,
Because I was pretty sure it had like a really low like audience review.
it sure did at one point.
Yeah.
It's like because you can't actually prove that it was individual people putting negative reviews either. So Disney was saying that people were mass negative reviewing. So like one person would put in like thousands of negative reviews, and so they started going the other way and they would put in their own positive reviews to try to counteract all the negative reviews.
Mm.
Oh,
So
that's weird. Yeah.
And then after that, they contacted Rotten Tomatoes and got them to start like banning people and stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
I got to point out that
bots.
I got to point out that milk stash that Chewbacca had. Like
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
The
It's so good, right?
the clearly fake, like you know.
I don't know, man. I think it's a little realistic. Little milk mustache.
It looks so yogurty.
Oh, that's so good.
Milk's just a bit sour. That's all.
I know, right? It's like a goo that's on his face.
just way too literal.
Yeah. Kind of a Harrison Ford line, actually.
Which?
I can't keep my eyes down the whole time. I'm gonna bump into something. Yeah.
I can see Harrison saying that.
Yeah.
Scrum rat. Just remember that one. If I see
Scrum
people
rats.
downtown, I live in a box.
Yeah.
Scrum rats.
Scrum. That's so bad.
So,
Filthy scrum rats.
that park over there, it's Scrum Rat City.
Scrum City.
Yeah. Level 1313 over there.
There you go. Yeah, it's the scrum level.
Scrum level. Scrum. Delicious scrum.
Delicious scrum.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's like eating ice cream.
He's eating an ice cream cone.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but like gigantic over there.
Oh, on the left there.
Yeah.
Saw for a second. It does look pretty similar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it human? Oh, it's like a. Oh, maybe it's out of focus.
It's like alien kind of thing. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put something like that in there.
There's
It's
a whole
cool,
bunch of there's a whole bunch of
treasures.
relics. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of like Force artifacts in that room as well.
that's cool.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. Is there Mando stuff as well?
Yep, there's like a Mando like samurai suit.
Yeah. If I was very wealthy, this is basically what my apartment would look like.
Totally.
That would be the same for me, except they'd be guns instead of a bunch of little statues.
Yeah.
I have like walls of like meticulously maintained
like
guns.
like a museum.
Dude, I mean, really, if I had like an ideal house, Josh, it really would be like a museum of some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
We'd have like the Hall of Firearms, the Hall of Star Wars memorabilia. Like,
You know what's so funny is every guy I talk to, that's basically what their place would be, and yet every male adult I know isn't like that. So something tells me that their significant other just doesn't let it go down.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty close. Oh
yeah? I mean, I can see your apartment right now with your memorabilia behind you there.
Yep.
yeah, but you're not contractually like married or anything like that, Josh.
That's true.
You haven't combined your bank account with anyone yet. Like that's
Nobody-
what I'm okay with being single right now. Is like I'm like, you know what? It sucks being single, but at the same time, I get to buy whatever I want.
Yep.
It's
Like
true.
the amount of money I spend on my guns and stuff, like, whew, that doesn't happen. I'd have to have a good paying job to get away with that.
Well, you know what? I still buy what I want. Yeah.
We should probably go back to the movie a bit.
Yeah.
I forgot that Dryden Voss's scars are they get
Yes.
super intense when he gets angry.
Yeah, it's based on his emotion, I guess. Yeah.
That's really cool. I thought, I really liked his character. He's a really good like nemesis or enemy and stuff like that throughout this movie.
Just this wealthy boss.
Yeah, like he's a really
It's like
good antagonist kind of. That's another reason I thought that that subplot with the Raiders or whatever was just so meaningless because he's such a better villain than they are.
Agreed. And it just feels like the more I'm kind of getting into this movie again, it just feels so unnecessary to have that because it almost becomes like there's too many story threads because they could have done so much just focusing on this.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just so unnecessary. Didn't need any of it at all.
Yeah.
It's such a good casting too.
Oh yeah.
This guy, yeah.
Who's this actor? He's been in some awesome movies.
He was the Vision, Paul
What's his
Beckett,
name?
Paul
Yeah.
Bettany.
Yeah,
Paul
Paul
Bettany. Yeah.
That-
I keep forgetting he does Vision. I remember him from Priest or
Yeah. I know what you're gonna say. It's
Legion or something. I can't remember. That's like a horror movie though.
no, it's the what's the name of it? It's the Christian movie. They find out about Jesus' bloodline. It's got Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah. Angels and Demons, or no?
That's a sequel.
Da Vinci Code.
Oh,
Da Vinci
yeah,
Code.
Da
That's
Vinci.
it. Yeah, that's the
Right.
Yeah,
one.
I forgot he's in that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I'd ever seen it. Was Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Seen him.
I think I've seen him in a lot of movies. It's just that he's not usually the main character, so I like forget about them.
Yeah, for sure. This is so cool. They have like
I
battle
love
bots.
this. Yeah, I love the BattleBot thing. That's actually like
Right?
a huge. It's a huge callback to Clone Wars too, because that was just like a thing that a lot of scum and villainy kind of did as enjoyment.
That's funny. They just set
if you
up two
remember-
things to destroy each other.
Yeah, if you remember all the way back to even like the 2D Clone Wars series, that's how they introduced Asajj Ventress's character. Was like she was a contestant in this
There's a
gladiator
battle arena. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
an arena.
Exactly.
But I also just love that it's like these like garbage robots. They have to destroy each other and then rebuild to destroy each other again,
Oh yeah.
over and over again. Like it's like watching BattleBots in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Discovery Channel.
I love the shots that they have of his blaster and stuff in this movie, like when they gave it to him and stuff, and like 'cause it's such a important
so
part of his
cowboy- so
character.
cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool.
All right, so here's Lando. All these scenes, he was all right, like decent. All the gambling stuff,
Yeah.
and I love the simple touch. He calls him Han.
Yeah, instead of Han.
Yeah,
Because Billy D did that the whole time, didn't he?
yeah, he did.
Han.
Han,
Han! Han!
Han,
And old buddy.
Han, old buddy.
Nobody don't let it down.
Not a scratch.
I thought the whole thing
Yeah,
with him and his robot counterpart though was really strange. L3.
Oh, I hated that. That was one of
Yeah.
the things that made me so irritated.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a whole
Like,
cringe moment for me
Did
throughout the
forget
whole
about
film.
that because I hated it so much. Because A was like not it was so unnecessary. Like they really didn't need that extra character at all. And then they tried to make it like they tried to make it like an SJW like plot point or whatever, which was
Yeah.
so wildly unnecessary. And then they tried to like just
Force it into the Falcon.
oh, it was just so bad. Like I don't know why they tried to tie her
Like
into the
wrangle stuff in,
and then
yeah.
freaking like when she dies or whatever, how upset Lando is, and like some of the dialogue between them is just so brutal. It's so bad. It's
but-
just
If you just take it one step farther, it doesn't make any sense because how many times does Lando in the original trilogy just completely ignore R2 and 3PO? It's like
Right.
3PO. So I remember specifically 3PO when he meets Lando, something was like, "Oh, see 3PO, like human relations," and then he just completely ignores him and like just follows Leia. Like doesn't even let him finish the sentence.
yeah, it does not care at all.
And then in this, he's just obsessed with his droid.
Yeah, yeah. I love the guy with all the eyes. He's like peeping over with one.
Yeah.
See,
So
like,
Pretty good.
here I'm fine with Lando. Like right now, I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy with Lando. But then
He's always
later,
gambling.
once he starts changing his accent, when he gets the robot involved and stuff like that, it's just like it goes downhill.
No, I think I totally agree with that. I think I even said
Yeah.
at the beginning, like while he's gambling, he does a good job, and then I don't know, the rest of the movie just starts to feel kind of weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Uh oh. I like the space turtle too. I don't know if you guys noticed him with the giant space suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a head floating in like an astronaut helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he knows he's cheating.
Right? There's no way. Oh yeah.
Oh,
So-
not the gonk droid.
I can tell you 100% this is a Ron Howard scene or like sequence because the guy who's like after the droids, trying to like wrangle them or whatever, that's Ron Howard's brother.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No kidding. Oh. I do love what they did with Lando's. You know, they improved upon kind of his cockiness and the whole reason why he wears a cape and everything, and
Yeah.
you know they
got a
made
whole
him like
closet of capes.
yeah, he's got
was
like a whole
great.
closet of capes, and he's
Yeah.
kind of like self-obsessed and everything. Like actually, like it feels right for the character.
Agreed. Yeah. Totally agree with that. Lando definitely is like an entire changing room and wardrobe section of his ship.
Yeah, and it kind of flows with his attitude too.
It's like-
Really, he's just a kind of a ladies' man.
He's a very 70s-esque ladies man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, so good.
The original metrosexual.
yeah. Another name drop here.
Oh man. Okay, right away. Like, so cringe.
Yeah, right? Oh, this
Yeah.
is you mean Ron Howard's brother coming up here. That's him talking. The bald guy on the right.
Oh, oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah.
Him. He's never had it so good.
So good.
Ugh, it's hard to sit through this character, I'm honest.
It really is. It's so bad. Like,
The design of the droid is awesome.
oh yeah, super cool droid, but the character is brutal. Like everything, like not only is most of this completely unnecessary, all of it's really unnecessary actually.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue is just awful, man.
Oh my goodness. Just so sassy all the time.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
it almost
for-
feels like within like cinema and stuff, it's like the ex-wife character.
Oh yeah.
She's just
Yeah, it does
always
feel that
bitchy.
way.
Oh yeah. And you know, like that's one thing that I don't really like too, is that like this movie is supposed to be about Han Solo, and like we already have Chewbacca here now too. And so it's like, how many characters do we need
Yeah.
to be a part of this, right? Like, it's because the name of the movie is Solo, right? And so I don't mind having like a few characters. Like, he's already got like a father figure. His
Yeah.
girlfriend is here. There's a nemesis. There's like the main villain or
There's
whatever.
a lot
already.
of characters in this movie.
There's
yeah.
so many characters already. It's like,
lot,
how many more do
actually.
we need? Do we really need this like droid or whatever to start like taking up huge like sections of with like useless dialogue?
That's a good point. It does feel a bit crowded. Like, I wouldn't be
Mhm.
surprised if they're originally going for a get the team back together sort of feel, where you got to recruit people throughout the whole movie. Like,
Yeah.
what are it called now?
Like
Can't remember
Fast
the name of it.
Five
It
or
was that
something.
the old samurai movie. It was also an old western.
Oh, I guess they do show up.
Very briefly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Warwick's character there, hey?
Oh, the short one, you mean?
Yep. Yeah.
Is he in all these movies then?
So his character is no, he's just in this one, but but his cameo in this film is on Wikipedia listed as the same exact character that he plays in the Phantom Menace in the pod racing crowd.
In this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's interesting. That's quite the progression, considering you look like some like random rapscallion cheering on the pod races in the crowd there.
Yeah.
Laughing at poor Annie when he couldn't get his pod racer to start.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. With the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Giving Watto a high five.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like so unnecessary.
It's really weird.
Some of those really weird, like that was almost like a sexual innuendo. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
I need that in this movie.
That way.
It's a droid, which makes it like 10 times weirder.
You know what? I'm starting to think that you might be right on this there, Reid. I think maybe it's not necessarily that I didn't like Donald Glover as much in this movie as much as the droid just held him back a lot.
Yeah.
It's a possibility, yeah.
Because their dynamic just feels so un-Lando.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
It feels more if it would have felt more natural if he was after Akira, and then you had the same kind of
Agreed.
dynamic between the
been-
Kira,
Yeah,
Han,
like Han
and
in it.
Lando.
Yeah, they're like
Just like how they do it
Agreed.
later on with Leia.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
That would have been hilarious. Like, that would have been so awesome.
And
Yeah,
it
like
also-
you have this love
it fits
triangle
so
that he's
well.
clearly just like the
Yeah,
third wheel kind of thing.
That's what
Yeah.
like, annoys me is that like they do such a good job of like picking up on stuff from like the original movies and that kind of thing. Like when Josh, I can't remember if it was you or Josh that mentioned how he says Han instead of Han.
That was
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, and then but like so if he ignored C-3PO and like the other droids like completely in the original in Empire Strikes Back and stuff, it's just like, well, yeah, why wouldn't they carry that stuff over? Like they've done a great job reading into some of those like really
Yeah, the
minor
little tiny.
details.
Yeah, for
Mm.
sure. Picking up so many of the small stuff that have been looked over.
Yeah.
I'll be to take a quick break to acknowledge the cape closet here.
Yeah, yeah. So
It is-
I love this part. This was really funny. Like everything
Right?
to do with it.
Just
I
like
was reading
so
on- I
many
was-
capes.
I was reading online that this was when they shot this whole thing. It was the same day that George was on set.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, George Lucas was on set for this?
yeah. I believe he directed this scene actually when he puts the cape on the thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said, oh, Han would just kind of like throw it aside. He wouldn't actually hang it up again.
I was just about to mention, I was like, oh, did he drop that on purpose?
Yeah.
It's like, yes, he did.
That's super
Yeah.
funny.
George Lucas told him to.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
It's like it's such a specific thing to like call out too.
yeah, it is.
Han doesn't use hangers. He's just loading a bachelor pad.
He has like, it's kind of funny. He has like no control over the whole movie, so he like gets as much control over one scene as he possibly can.
Yeah,
I mean, wouldn't we all?
Oh, that's funny. I mean, I'd be a little, yeah,
Slowly grow your influence.
yeah.
Mm.
I love
Look how
that they have
fresh
the
and
board
new that
or
the
that
interior
game.
looks. Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
that's an Easter egg. Oh yeah, that's an Easter egg. Yeah, like the board game picks up, I think, from this movie in A New Hope. I believe all the pieces are in the same spots.
yeah.
You're gonna get mixed up with Force Awakens.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. When he breaks the table in A New Hope, that's what. Yeah, that's right. When they turn on Force Awakens, it's the same one.
It's the same board
Yeah.
lineup. Yeah.
That's so true.
I like how new that they made like the Falcon look, but I think it just looks too new.
That's yeah.
Movie is Lando,
That's
so
true.
it makes sense, right? And I actually think it makes
Yeah.
it kind of funny because
Yeah.
that means Han basically just let it fall into total disrepair and just like
Yeah.
didn't bother cleaning it ever.
It's true. It's true. Like there's sometimes I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool, and then other times I'm like, it's
Yeah.
almost like too slick kind of thing, you know? Like,
Yeah,
but
well-
it makes sense. It makes sense because it's Lando's ship. But
Like-
yeah, I don't know.
I
You know
like
what
how
you know-
new it is. Like I like that they actually have that section with the escape pod and stuff like that. And like that's one of the things I liked that they did with the Millennium Falcon in this movie is like as
I do
the
like
movie
that too.
progresses,
Yeah.
like they just trash on the Falcon more and more and more. Like in
Yeah,
the
it's kinda
end
funny,
scene
eh?
or whatever, they're like not only has the escape pod been ejected and stuff like that, but at that point at the end, it like they literally like crash land.
It's
the
like
thing and
barely
just,
running,
like-
yeah.
yeah.
It shows that Han's been just basically patching it like for what 20 years, 15
Yeah.
years.
Pretty much.
Because like the next after this movie's because it gets trashed by the end of this movie, right? So
Oh,
like
yeah.
at the end of
Yeah.
this film, A New Hope is then just under 15 years later, I believe, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Whatever the time frame was. Actually, no, it was actually. I was gonna say, it kind of reminds me of like when your friend just like moves out of his parents' place for the first time, and you go over there. You know, it's like nice and clean because they just moved in. It's great, and you visit them like a year later, and just like nothing has been cleaned. Everything's coated in like thick dust. And there's like hair and grime everywhere.
right, yeah, that's very that
I
makes
feel
sense.
like that's Han and the Falcon.
Yeah, that's that actually. Yeah, that's a good example.
All right. This scene was just awful. Another thing I just hated so much.
Yeah,
So bad.
it's like no, it doesn't work. L3.
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't. Stop.
Enough-
I don't need to hear
Yeah.
this in a freaking Star
Yeah.
Wars movie, man. Like ah. So stupid.
Well, they could have made it really comical, where like she thinks that Lando's in love with her and she likes Lando a lot, but then Lando later would say like, "Yeah, she's just really weird, and I can't reset her, so just kind of put up with it."
Yeah,
But they don't do
something
the
like
second
that.
part. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like they make it like they give him
He plays
like,
along.
it's so bad.
Yeah, it makes it super weird.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, I really wish that they had kind of turned the tables and made Lando kind of the guy that ladies man that goes after Kira instead of the
Exactly.
droid.
Yeah,
'Cause
man,
he did
such
such a good
opportunity.
job of that. in
Yeah,
Empire
it
Strikes
is.
Back.
It is yeah, exactly. It's a missed opportunity to kind of repeat that same dynamic between the characters.
Yeah, that was such a fun dynamic in Empire Strikes Back. Because that's one of my favorite things about Han Solo's character is like how like easily certain people can push his buttons, and Han Solo or Han Solo, Lando is one of those people that can do such a good job of pushing his buttons and stuff
Yep.
and get him upset. Oh, but I love Beckett's costume, by the way, in this scene. Another
Yeah,
throwback
it's
to Return
it's
of the Jedi.
it's like one of the things that like Lando had on the ship, and then Han, I guess, has it on the ship, and then
Yeah.
it's like they only had a brief moment with Kira and Lando when they first kind of meet in that cantina again, where it's like, oh, okay, and then it just kind of disappears. But
Yeah,
Uh.
now it's like freaking Lando and this robot are the
Yeah.
focus. Like it's just such an unnecessary plot. Like it doesn't make sense, or subplot, or whatever you want to call it.
so the second final, actually, well, chronologically, I guess it's the third final, the first of the last three arcs in the Clone Wars brought Ahsoka to Kessel, and you actually saw the good half of the planet, and then there's this half of the planet which is actually just this mining grounds.
That's really interesting.
So yeah, and it's really cool because I was like, oh, that's it's a really good world building, because like not the whole planet. The whole planet is not like this. It's just like a section of the planet, but I love how they further improved on that.
I mean, that makes sense. It's kind of similar to what they did with Mandalore, right? Where it's like inside the city bubbles, like gorgeous and perfect, and then outside of that, everything's desolate and destroyed.
Yep.
So I have a question for you guys. So this is kind of like, I guess, a little early, but how did you feel about how the Kessel Run played out? Like, was it kind of what you like imagined it would be or whatever? Because
I think it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's not what I imagined, but I had no problem with it. I thought it was well done. It was fun and exciting. I mean, it felt Star Warsy, so that's always good.
Yeah.
And if I were to say if I had any issue with any particular thing, it would be that I felt they focused too much on trying to make it like the original description of made the Kessel Run in. I'm going to look like a non-Star Wars fan here, but that's so many parsecs, right? Josh, you know the number?
Oh, less than 12, yeah.
Less than 12 parsecs. So, and then of course that's infamously known as stated to sound like time, but it's actually a unit of distance. So how they actually covered a distance and less distance doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. It's like, I guess because a certain calculation has to get you through that.
Yeah. So
right?
their explanation is during the Kessel Run here in this film, you have to. It's a spiral. You have to spiral your way through a course towards the planet. So it takes longer than it would be to go straight as the crow flies straight out. So because Han cuts through the atmosphere, the kind of cloud and all the asteroid, the dangerous area, he can do it in less distance. But that's the part I felt like kind of felt unnecessary. They tried to make it like fit into our real world version of a unit of distance. But I wouldn't be totally fine if they just ignored that entirely and just used a time.
Right. Yeah.
Because that was always explained as making the Falcon extremely fast, right? So it's really like the one of the fastest ships in the galaxy because it did the Kessel in less than 12 parsecs. So they actually kind of threw that out the window by saying, no, it has the ability to travel a specific distance in less distance in this one particular thing. So it actually makes it less impressive, I would say.
Yeah,
that's a really good point, actually. Yeah, because I did kind of feel that way. I mean, I haven't seen this movie in a while, so I kind of forgot about it, I guess. But yeah, because the Falcon is always portrayed as like, you know, this really fast ship and stuff like that. So if they had actually just done the normal Kessel Run and just made it like some sort of chase scene instead of, you know, having him cut through the maelstrom and stuff like that, that would have made it like more compelling, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's interesting though, because like at the end of the film, like when the whole thing comes up with the Kessel Run, like it's like nobody cares, right? And so I think like they make it out to be this thing in which he brags about it, but nobody in the galaxy cares that he was able to do it in less than 12 parsecs, right?
That is true.
So
that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay, let me just go one step further. Han is specifically asked, is it a fast ship? And he says, fast ship. It made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. So he says that in response to it's a fast ship, which now makes no sense because that's the unit of distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's completely irrelevant as a responance.
That's true. Yeah,
that's true.
It was kind of miswritten, I think, and as far as dialogue goes, you know.
Yeah, not to focus too much on this one throwaway line.
No, but it kind of.
But they kind of broke it.
Yeah, they kind of.
By trying to correct it in this movie, they actually broke it.
Yeah. Although I think a parsec is a real world form of
unit
measurement,
of distance. Yeah, it's a unit of distance.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, 1 parsec. Oh man, you can't even calculate how many meters that is.
Yeah, no, it's a galactic scale.
It's a 3.26 light years. That's
there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's really cool that they knew that. That's cool. I guess.
Mhm. This whole sequence is really cool.
Yeah, I thought this was really cool.
Like mining facility. This almost feels like an episode of Clone Wars. This whole
It does.
sequence.
Yeah.
I could also see this in like Rebels. Like,
Yeah, totally.
That's a very Rebel thing to do.
It's something that you totally see Ezra doing, like slipping
Exactly.
on a different helmet, and then
man, straight up, because all the time. I could totally see him kicking some stormtrooper in the balls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. He says as he drops it on the
I know, eh?
It takes it all off. He's like, well, shirt's off now.
Like, there's no way I'm doing
I love this.
So good. Yeah. It's very Star Trek-y, though.
Yeah.
Always.
I love how he's got his own personal holo diary.
I know.
So
But
great.
that was very Lando, though, right?
Yeah, it was.
It's just
it
super
was.
narcissistic.
That was one of the best moments, I think, of his throughout the film. Actually, all of this stuff, Donald Glover did a great job with all of this stuff on Kessel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he does great right up until he like cries in agony for his droid.
Yeah, totally.
Because after that point, he becomes very useless.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't do anything after that because he's so heart-stricken that he lost his toaster.
I like that. Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna
Well,
use
essentially
that now.
what droids are, right, in this universe.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I like that they have like the Wookiees and stuff like that too.
Yeah, I love that too. They just have
Like,
these Wookiee slaves there, and like
like I
Chewie
like
has
that. Sorry, I was gonna
Chewie-
say. Oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
But in the sequels and stuff like that, like even though Chewbacca is like a character in them, more so in Force Awakens than the other ones, I think. Like I think that they really did like leave out his character quite a bit. Like he's just kind of there.
Absolutely.
Like what I like about this though is that even though he's like not the main character of the movie, I think they still did a great job of like including him in this movie and making him a part of the movie, and just instead of
giving
like,
him some
a
moments.
character, more like a cameo character.
Agreed. They did that in the sequels with a lot of characters too, like the droids as well. Same thing.
Oh yeah, definitely with the droids.
And Luke wasn't much better, to be honest.
Oh no, yeah, that was. Oh my gosh, dude, it's gonna be fun watching the sequels with you guys because it's just gonna be us getting more and more angry.
Well, we'll have to see. It does have some good parts. We're gonna have to let Josh try to wrangle the group, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
This is a show for all fans. So
yes.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the only thing I'm worried about is that I don't want it to be too like negative, but
yeah, for sure.
I'll try to be conscious. I think of all three of them, I think the one I'm probably just going to be flat out mad about is going to be Last Jedi because I have not watched that movie at all since I watched it in the theater. So I've seen it once, and I still vividly remember everything I hate about it.
Yeah.
Well, that is exactly what Rian Johnson was going for. So there you go. he accomplished his mission.
Yeah, exactly.
He wanted it to be deep in people's psyche.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an important scene.
Yeah, important scene right here, you guys. We need to.
I do like that bit though, where like lifts her and like her body just tears off. Like that's pretty good. The prop guys did a great job of that.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah. He did a great job at the pose when he shoots his gun. Like that's exactly what
yeah.
Harrison Ford
Oh
does
yeah,
too.
It's so
Kind of
great.
crouches down a little bit.
It's
Like
like-
such a classic like cowboy, like whipping out the gun and just blasting people.
just limp armed, not even holding it steady.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
I can tell you right now from like someone with experience shooting handguns, there's nothing remotely practical about what he's doing right now. But
No,
because
in fact-
it looks really cool. I'm okay with
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
and it's a
100%.
laser blaster, so you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
There we go. There's some thermal detonators.
Oh wow.
You know, how often do we really even see them use thermal detonators in Star Wars? Like, I wonder how many times we've actually seen someone kill people with a thermal detonator.
In use. Did they use it in Clone Wars at all, Josh?
Yeah,
I can't
quite
remember.
a bit. Lots
Okay.
of it. Yeah.
But in the movies, though, how many? I don't think we've ever in the main movies like seen them use it.
Was that just
I
a
don't know.
regular grenade they used, or was that thermal detonators? I
Oh,
feel like
I
it was a
wasn't-
grenade.
Maybe
Yeah,
it
I'm not
was.
entirely sure. I think it wasn't like the standard round thermal detonator.
Okay,
I
because
think
my
that-
understanding of thermal detonators is like it'll clear an entire building with just one.
Yeah, that's what my thought was too. I think that was just like an explosive charge of some kind.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. In that case, I don't think it's being used. No, I don't think so.
No.
Like, I don't even know why they expect us to care about that. Like, it's a robot. Like, how am I supposed to feel like emotionally attached to like
Yeah.
a robot, right? Like,
It's
Even
kind of
if-
funny because
even
like
if-
every previous scene, I almost just felt like this internal cringe when I hear the character talking.
oh yeah, and like even if like C-3PO or like R2-D2 died, like characters that
Hey! Let's not get out of hand here.
I mean, I don't think I would be like as dramatic as he is, though.
If so, maybe 3PO, but because it'd be probably comical. But if R2 got torn apart, you wouldn't be heart stricken.
I mean, I don't know, because I mean, in Empire Strikes Back, when like 3PO gets blasted or whatever, I wasn't like that upset about it. And then no one else was either.
That is true.
I mean, it was like it ended up being a funny thing because you know Chewie tried to put them back together backwards, but like,
Yeah,
oh, this is a cool scene. I like this.
It is,
yeah.
yeah.
It's like a Star
Super
Destroyer like
cool.
silhouetted in the lightning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty
like-
terrifying looking.
It's like an evil castle in the horizon, right?
Oh
Mhm,
yeah,
yeah.
so cool. See, like having him like fly through this like tunnel and get chased by like a Star Destroyer and like a whole bunch of like TIE fighters or something like that would have been so cool.
Isn't that what happens?
Yeah.
And you just whoop.
I guess that's their little Easter egg for like having the Falcon have such an obscure language that 3PO has to deal with.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, the Falcon just being super temperamental all the time.
Yeah.
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 Boy, that sure looked cool.
I love that every time someone gets into that gun, it's just this weird, awkward, confusing moment as they try to figure out how to make it work. Like every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like super clunky.
Yeah.
That's something else about Lando's Falcon that Han upgraded is like the turrets.
Yeah, I put quad lasers in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, he increased the speed and put bigger guns on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Just a typical pirate.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I like that he never adds an escape pod though. Like
It's true.
just not an option for him.
Yeah, it doesn't need one.
Yeah, it's funny that you wouldn't try to just replace it because you just go to a scrapyard and buy another one, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have to modify it.
Yeah, but that's what I
Right.
mean though, right? Is that he loves his shit so much, abandoning it is not an option.
Exactly. Exactly.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is.
I forgot about this part of the movie.
You look great. Just like such an inappropriate time for this conversation.
It actually makes the perfect co-pilot because like he can actually reach all those buttons.
Reach
After the buttons at the top.
Yeah.
Everyone else needs one of those sticks.
Yeah. Or like has to stand up, right? That's a custom
So
piece.
mad about the cape.
Yeah.
I love that.
piece.
See, like that's a Lando moment to me.
Yeah,
Getting
really is.
upset about his cape. Like I believe that. I don't believe any of this stuff with the robot though.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I could buy that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, going through the maelstrom though, that is a really cool sequence. I kind of like that. Like, it reminds me of the
Yeah.
Empire Strike Back thing where they
The
go through
asteroids, yeah.
asteroids, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, it pretty much just is that, but it's all smoky and has cool lighting.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. They're like, how do we take that scene and make it cooler?
Right?
And we add fog and lightning. There we go.
Boom. Also, this is how they explained the different legs between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, because the Falcon has a different number of legs.
Oh,
It goes from
Right.
3 legs to 5, I believe.
Oh, wow.
So the idea was they broke off in this, and then he repaired it between the two movies.
That's kind of funny.
wait, but this takes place before that.
Yeah, so New Hope had less legs, right? So it's because
Right.
they just broke off now, but it's supposed to have 5.
So he never
I see.
repairs it until between.
Exactly.
I got you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a lot of these spin-off movies are there just to fix a lot of like plot holes.
Yeah, they tend to do that quite a bit.
I mean, honestly, though, how many people are going to notice that, right?
Yeah, not many, just pretty extreme fans.
I don't
but,
mind when they fix stuff and it's like super small stuff that like only like a fan is really going to pick up on. Like that stuff does like.
I mean, that's more or less what they've been fixing, because it's basically been the two things we talked about in this movie. And then in Rogue One, they fixed why there's this random exhaust port that just destroys the entire stars, like the entire battle station, like Death Star.
I love what they did with the Maw and made this giant, terrifying creature.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's basically a Kraken in space, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really cool.
Release the Kraken!
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
So classic, just like this giant eye.
Oh yeah. Tentacles. It's always got to have tentacles.
Right?
I was reading about how they did all these scenes, and they had to reconstruct the inside of the Falcon cockpit for this movie because they had never once put in any of the previous movies an actual steering wheel or a way to actually drive it. They were always kind of flipping switches and pushing buttons. But there's in the previous films there's no left and right control stick or whatever.
Yeah. Wow, that's hilarious. I never even realized that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on one of the interviews, I think.
Just helps you escape pod.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
The destruction of this creature is so good.
Oh,
yeah, I know, man. So cool.
It's just
It's
like the outer
hilarious.
shell like rips off, and you see everything underneath.
Yeah, like the flesh peels away from the bone.
Yeah, it's
Looks
so good.
cool.
Awesome, dude.
Dude, that line was very Lando.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think it's how he pronounces his R's.
It's like a nurse running down the office with a syringe.
Dude, yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you
Yeah,
go.
so cool,
Super
man.
cool.
It looks awesome.
It's so like Indiana Jones. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now!
He's like, what now? She's like, what?
Oh yeah, this is super cool too. I forgot
Oh,
about
I
this.
love this. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it cuts out. Great. Whoops.
Oh man.
Woo! Man, that looks
Like-
so good. I love that.
That
Mhm,
engine thing now is like super fast and furious. I love that they did that.
Oh
yeah.
It didn't work. Yeah.
This time it's gonna.
Oh, there we go.
I don't think it's something he would do, but I would love to see Ron Howard direct a Fast and Furious movie.
It actually be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he did a great job with Rush.
Yeah, he did.
Rush? Which one's Rush? I don't know if I've seen that one. Oh, is that that
Yeah.
bike movie?
It's about
Formula One racing.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that movie yet.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's great. It's Chris Hemsworth.
Chris
and,
Hemsworth, that's his name.
yeah.
Just trying
I
to
forget.
figure
I always forget the other guy's name. It's pretty foreign.
Yeah. You know what's a really good one? I don't know if you guys have seen it. Is Ford
Fucking
versus
just like
Ferrari.
body slams the landing pad.
Yeah. What was that, Reid?
Ford versus Ferrari. That movie was amazing.
Yeah. So Rush is actually like based on that event.
Oh, is it? Oh, no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it's about the creation of the Ford GT. I'm pretty
Rush
sure.
is based off the same thing?
I'm pretty sure it is. It's hold on. Let me just look this up. Hold on. So it's about James Hunt and Niki Lauda, two extremely skilled Formula One racers have intense rivalry with each other. So I thought it was
So
about the creation of the Ford GT.
Formula isn't the same thing as the Ford versus Ferrari. The Ford versus Ferrari is about the Le Mans.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. My share. That was a good moment. I like that.
yeah, that's good.
Oh, his ship is just so destroyed. Like
It's so destroyed. Like that's what I love is like
yeah,
because
like it looks like the
know
Falcon.
it. Yeah, like because we saw it like brand spanking new, all cool and stuff like that, but we know it as like an absolute piece of junk that breaks down
Yeah.
constantly, and that's what
Mhm.
Yeah,
comes at
exactly.
the end of this movie.
Yep.
So I c- so what is it that she exactly owes him? Because I don't know if they ever like get into like what it exactly it is. Because like why is it that she thinks like it is such like a big like debt that she owes or something like that that she's not willing to
Hmm.
run away with Han?
It's possible they would have revealed more in a sequel, maybe, but I think
Yeah,
the way it's supposed to work out is that she basically is just owned because she is branded, right?
Yeah,
right.
I think he got her off of Corellia.
Yeah, yeah. I think he bought her freedom essentially in terms as far as then being able to work for him and stuff. So
But
she's
yeah,
kind of like she's technically a slave, but kind of more on a professional level.
Like an escort.
Yeah, like
yeah, I figured that, but just like I don't know, it didn't like even in spite of her being branded and stuff like that. Like I just didn't get. I was like, what is it that like she thinks she owes that she needs to like pay them back for or whatever? Like why wouldn't she just
yeah.
go away with Han?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean at the end of
I,
this movie with that whole scene with Maul and
Maul,
everything, I
yeah, that's
think
what
like
I figured. It had something to do
that's
with him.
yeah, exactly. I think there's something bigger kind of going on that maybe would have been revealed if they did make another movie, but
Yeah, I think that definitely would have been a thing because they really don't get into any of that storyline outside of this.
Yeah,
And now we've seen what happens to Maul in Rebels and all that, and they just really don't touch on any of this stuff, right?
yeah.
I think Dryden Voss's name is referenced somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, but there's you don't really hear much of it outside of this movie. The whole
Yeah, there was a
dynamic.
brief cameo of Dryden Voss in the Clone Wars finale
Maybe that's what it was.
in the hologram, but that was about it.
this music is awesome, by the way, but I'm still mad about the Marauders.
The music feels like something from a Nolan film.
It really does, yeah. The big, the like bombastic, yeah.
Yeah.
The it really is, man. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, it's like
yeah,
watching
definitely.
like Tenet or freaking some or what's another one
Yeah.
where he does that a lot?
Oh,
Well-
I love this part. I love this part.
Oh yeah, this is great.
Right.
Flies away.
Man, it reminds me of that like time in Florida on the bus. Like
Yeah. When we were at Star Wars Celebration. Man,
yeah.
that's so accurate.
Yeah.
You want to tell the story since we got into it? So people
Oh
actually
man! All right,
Yeah, I've never
yeah.
heard
So
this
we're
on
we're on our way to one of the Disney World parks, right? And those four of us down there, and we were sprinting because to catch one of the buses, right? And there was two at the bus station outside one of the resorts, and we get on the first one, and we asked the driver like, which one's going to Epcot or whatever. I forget exactly which one it was that we were heading to, and he's like, oh, that'll be that bus right there. And then we look out the window, and the bus goes just drives away.
It like literally immediately leaves at that exact moment.
Wow.
The driver turns to us and goes, well, that's too bad. And just immediately, then his bus just drives away.
Yeah. We're just standing there in like the smoke, from the bus. Like,
Oh my god.
And then we waited like an hour or 45 minutes for the next one.
yeah. Oh man, scorching
I've had that
Florida weather.
That's happened to me so many times because when I went to university, I took transit, and so I had like a 45-minute walk to the Carvel bus exchange, and so I kid you not, so many times I get there
Oh
and I
man.
see my bus drive away. I feel
It's so
so
sad.
sad.
It's infuriating.
where I would walk past it as it like would drive past me because like the way I had to walk to the Carvel exchange. Oh my gosh.
Right.
So I guess they did the reveal while we were telling the story.
Right. Yeah. They revealed that they're all these people have been negatively affected by Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Why do they know about that?
So she's basically revealing all the terrible things that Crimson Dawn did, and see like all these people are. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, look at that.
Warwick. He's got the same hair as when he did Willow.
Maybe it's the same character.
Yeah, maybe. Like cross-dimensional.
Yeah. Maybe Willow takes place on a planet within the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah. I'm curious as to see whether or not her character pops up again.
It never really did.
No, it never. She never like popped up in Rebels, and yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. Yeah, Enfys Nest.
If anywhere, it should have been
see it
Rebels.
again. Every time I see her, it's just so cringe. It was just like I'm sure she's a talented actress or whatever, but I'm like, why would you pick someone that looks like they're 13 years old to lead like a ruthless band of like rebels or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, well, within the story, it makes absolutely no sense, but within marketing, it's a great idea.
Yep.
Was it really though? Because I mean, like we saw with Last Jedi, how much it tanked, like how much it sucked, like because they.
It looked good on paper. Let's just say that.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
it's all about the paper.
Money.
Yeah.
Yep.
This ending dynamic between them is also fantastic.
Yeah, it is very good. It's really well done.
I loved it. Yeah.
Like Kira knows Han better than anyone. Like she knew that he would help them.
Yeah.
Oh. There's the Jabba reference.
This one, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that would have been a thing in the sequel.
Yep. I mean, this movie directly feeds into that too.
Yeah, I would love to see a movie with a young Han like meeting Jabba the Hutt for the first time. Like that would be a lot of fun.
If they did do a Disney Plus series, I would love just a weekly episodic kind of Monster of the Week style Han Solo series. I think that'd be fun.
That would be cool.
I guess it would pretty much just be Mandalorian. So
yeah. Actually, that's a really good point.
Yeah, essentially.
More or less, except we get Wookiee instead of a little, Baby Yoda.
That's right. Same, but different.
Yeah, same, but
Yep.
different. Neither of them do much talking.
That's right.
Oh, that's the idol from Indiana Jones too. Like
No
right
way.
next
Like the
to
gold
yeah,
one?
look at that, the little gold one.
Oh,
on
yeah.
at the
Is it on the
bottom.
left?
Yeah, on the left behind his shoulder.
Dude, no way. That's so.
That's-
Yep,
Yeah, there it is.
right there, right
I
next to
feel
his
like
arm.
the scale is wrong. It looks small.
No, that's the one
Oh
that
yeah,
he
small.
steals.
Remember, it's like a small bag of sand.
Yeah, because it's the one he swaps with the bag of rice.
No,
It's
or
sand,
is it
Josh.
rice or sand?
It's definitely
sand.
sand because he pulls
Sand,
it up.
sand, sorry.
Yeah, rice.
Yeah, rice.
Yeah.
There's
It's
just
crazy. South
bags of
America,
rice
and
flying around in
yeah.
like 1,000-year-old temple.
all of the ground is just rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder what other just random Lucasfilm memorabilia is just like crammed in this room.
Yeah, I wonder.
Probably
Actually, yeah.
some Willow stuff, some like red tails. That's pretty cool though. I love that they did that.
Yeah, it is. It's a
awesome.
nice homage.
It's such a smugglery thing to do. Very Ocean's 11.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This actually kind of got me in the theater. I was like, oh, no way.
Yeah.
What a twist!
Yeah. I actually wasn't expecting it at all. I was like, oh, wow.
That's what I loved about his character, though, is like he's so unpredictable. It was
It's
awesome.
true,
Yeah.
yeah. I was really expecting Chewbacca to walk through the door there. Why did that feel like it's from Halo?
Because he looks
Yeah.
like a brute.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah. His snout's not as long or whatever. But yeah,
Sounded like a brute
it
too, though.
sounds a lot like the brutes from.
At least Halo 2.
Are there a lot of brutes? Oh yeah, I guess there's brutes in Halo.
That's when you first meet
Yeah,
them,
that's
yeah.
when you first meet them.
They overthrow the elites by the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of see it. How red he's getting, like his
Yeah.
eyes and stuff too.
His scabies are kicking in, yeah.
Yeah, it's a subtle effect, but it's pretty.
It's really
pretty
cool.
cool.
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I was so excited when I saw the Rodian.
Yeah, me too. I remember we're sitting in the theaters, and you, Bryce, and I we're more excited that we saw Rodian than the actual movie. Because like it had been what, like 3 movies at this point, and there hadn't been a single original Alien.
Yeah, exactly.
We're like, what the crap?
Yep.
You know what would have been cool? Oh, never mind. I love that.
Such a cowboy line. I love it.
Oh, it's awesome, man.
Woody Harrelson was the perfect cast for this.
He's so
absolutely
good.
So good.
Why would we not shoot him?
Yeah.
This guy is like so powerful, and he was worried about being indebted to him, and he just steals his shit and leaves.
Leave him alive, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The weapons he's using are really cool too. I really like it.
Yeah.
The heated blade things.
The laser daggers or whatever.
They're a cool design.
Yeah.
It's almost like laser daggers off of brass knuckles.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's such a good death scene.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Stabs with his own dagger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he just goes white.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's a holocron back there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it looks like a Sith holocron.
Yeah.
It's maybe a bit too big unless there's different scales.
Yeah, I think there's different sizes. Yep.
I feel like the stuff in the urn was supposed to be like Price's heirlooms. So Han really should have filled his pockets before he left.
Yeah.
Honestly. That's one thing I like that they did with Han's character in this movie is how like naive they kind of made him. Like he's still like the very like enthusiastic,
like boyish,
cocky, like gregarious kind of character, but that's the same time he's still like he's very naive.
Yeah.
It fits really well because it's almost like when he sees Luke, he sees himself in him when he first meets him, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like this wide-eyed boy. And it also explains why he is then willing to like help Luke in the end to come back for him a New Hope, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like his former beliefs. Idealist. Sam Witwer.
Yeah, it's such a good reveal.
Yeah.
He looks so different though.
He does, yeah. It's Ray Park who's just aged, that's all.
Dathomir. There you go. There's another
Yeah.
drop. Well, I guess actually that game hadn't come out yet at this point, right?
Which one, sorry?
The
Why is that necessary?
Oh, yeah. No, the game hadn't. Yeah, I don't know why he turns it on, man.
Make sure everybody knows who I am. I'm going to turn on this lightsaber.
Yeah.
And make sure you see there's two sides, so it has to be Darth Maul.
Yeah. Even though, like, we don't know already from the mechanical legs and the face. And
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No, to get back to your question, though, Dathomir was actually very well established in the Clone Wars quite a bit. So
okay.
Fallen Order. Yeah,
like missing out on all of this stuff.
Yeah, Fallen Order is actually drawing off of a lot of what Clone Wars actually had as a visual reference.
Okay, where were they walking to though? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, where? There's nothing in.
I don't know. I don't know where they're going.
They're just strolling along, and he somehow outruns.
Got in front of them. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, how did he get in front of them?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure we'll find a ship if we just keep walking along the shore.
Oh, you know what? You know what's funny is that I think I know the exact scope that's on that gun right now too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, so I love that scene when he shot him there. That was
super
awesome
surprising.
Moment.
Yeah.
Because it felt very uncharacteristic of him so far in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
It also fits Han shot first.
I think it was also that was totally just to please fans too, right? Like
for sure.
Yeah.
Don't worry, they're gonna redo an edit, and Woody Harrelson's head is gonna do like this weird shifting motion. He's gonna shoot at the same time.
Yeah. That is so funny. The George Lucas version, and like the blaster bolt whizzes past his head as he does.
Just like Greedo misses from like 3 feet away.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
That being said, I have to say again, as an experienced shooter with handguns, it's actually harder to hit someone with a handgun than you would think.
Even when you have the drop on them under the table and they're like literally sitting a booth seat away from you.
Well, that's a little bit close, but I'm.
All right, there's the unspoken goodbye there.
Mm-hmm. And he's starting to learn.
Yeah.
So much room for sequels in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So much room. Like, they could make an entire TV series out of this if they wanted to.
Oh, for sure. Oh, actually, I would be surprised if they did an animated version. When the Resistance is done, they're gonna need something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't sound too excited now, Josh.
Yeah, no, I
want movies excluding those people. Or the rest of them are fine. Just that character.
I would love a sequel to this, honestly. Like it deserves one.
I'd rather watch a cartoon series than read a novel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or a comic.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely rather that than anything else. Yeah.
And that's your last line.
You might.
Yes. I love that Warwick has become like this new like iconic person. They try to spot him. He's like a moving Easter egg in the Star Wars movies.
He totally is. He's so like, it's not like memeable, but it's just you can't have Star Wars almost without him now. He's like he hosts at every single celebration. He's got cameos in every film. It's like, you know,
he is Star Wars.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Wow. Who is that guy?
He started off his Star Wars career as Wicket the Ewok.
Ewok, yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, and he's been like everyone.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. See, there we go. There's like the womanizing Lando.
Yeah. I love his shirt in this as well.
Yeah, dude. Isn't that shirt on one of his uniforms in Battlefront 2?
Yep.
Is it?
Is it? I don't know.
It might
That would be awesome.
There's
if it
one
was.
that's really like ridiculous looking because they have a couple of like.
It's not Ewok gliders on there, is it?
You know what? It actually might be.
It looks like it.
It does look like it.
But like, if it's Ewok gliders, like, how the crap? I thought the Ewoks were like undiscovered.
Wait. Is this shirt online? I want to find this shirt now. Josh, good.
Lando shirt. I'm looking it up. I'm looking it up already.
It's like a shirt with Ewok gliders on it. A little early.
I think it actually is.
No way.
Oh my gosh, I'm buying this shirt.
Hold on. Oh yeah, high-res shot of the pattern on Lando's shirt from alternate outfit in Battlefront 2. Can anyone recognize the ship glider on it? They're originally going to be used in Empire Strikes Back, I think. Oh, it's like a Ralph McQuarrie design.
Okay, that's better. Because if they had Ewok gliders on there, I'd be like,
oh man, that'd
I'd
be pretty
actually be
funny.
kind of annoyed. Just as the Ewoks like gliding around, like waving.
They do look
everyone.
very similar though. Like
it is uncanny. Uh-oh. Called out.
Yeah.
This is a good ending. I like this.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it puts truth into the whole fair and square debate that comes later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I beat you fair and square.
Yeah, won that from you fair and square. And then he doesn't say
That was
anything,
my
right?
ship.
I know, right?
Yeah. Hey, look at this. This is a direct lead into a possible sequel.
Yeah.
Right?
What? I love that line.
Right?
It's so good, man.
Such a good ending.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, so I mean, great movie. I just so good. Yeah. I think honestly, I wish that we got like a follow up to this, but it's too bad that that we just haven't so far. So look, Phil Lord and Chris Lillo were still credited as producers, but
yeah, I saw that because they pretty well did. They made a lot of decisions.
Yeah,
it was too late for Ron Howard to change. So
right. Yeah, look, there's John Williams' credit there.
Sorry, quick question. What's the next? Do we know what the next like actual movie that they're making is going to be?
I don't even know.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the one thing that kind of annoyed a lot of people recently was that there was a statement made by Kathleen Kennedy to say that they were stepping back to analyze what George did with the series and everything, and I think there's just a lot of confused people out there just because it's like, why haven't you done that before you made all these movies that you had no idea
Dude,
where they were
honestly,
gonna go?
they need to boot her out the front door. I don't know why they still have Kathleen Kennedy. Like, she's messed it up so bad. Like, oh my gosh.
You know what they should do? They should hire George. I bet that would smooth it over real quick.
Oh man, after everything, he's still. I don't think he's coming back. Like as much as everyone wants
How
that
old
to
is
happen.
he now?
He is
He's up there. Late
76.
70s, I think.
He's 76
Yeah.
years old. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's done, man. Now he's gonna have like anywhere he goes, he's gonna have like retainers and stuff like that. Like,
It's going to be Yoda in the floating chair.
Well,
Make
like
sure he
I've always,
doesn't say the wrong thing. Like, make sure he's doing okay. Like, no,
I've
this
always-
is too much for him. He can't do that.
I've always thought that like what he said about the reason why he's selling the company, right? Like that was he said to do these movies right, I would need about 10 years to do them, and he was only talking about doing 3. And he was talking about a decade worth of production, right? Like similar to how he managed the prequels, because he started around 95 or something around there, doing like early drafts,
a lot
right?
of thought into it.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005. So I mean that was roughly like a decade worth of like planning and preparing for these 3 films to be released. And it's like, to do them right, he said like, I'll need about 10 years to do them. So this way I'm passing the torch down to the next generation of filmmakers and so and so. But I mean, you know, you passed it to a big, massive, multi-billion-dollar franchise who was interested in not only making more than 3, but they want to do 1 per year.
They want to pump them out as fast as possible. Kind of the exact
Yeah.
opposite direction that George was going in the first place.
It's totally the opposite direction. And then not to mention they went in the complete opposite direction as to like the outline that you handed it. You get the maker of Star Wars handing you an outline for the next 3 films. And like, why would you not make those movies, right? Like, I just don't understand like why.
Like, he's done a lot of the work for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just too bad, like the way that things
You
work
brought
out.
my metachlorians. Why is no one talking about metachlorians in these sequel movies?
Yeah, there's not a single mention of them either.
Yeah, I totally didn't think about that. Yeah, you're so right.
Yeah,
It was like, and deleted.
yeah. Oh man, JJ. You know, Reid, Blake knows this, but I've got this thing about JJ. I
think
just
you've
really
talked about
don't.
it with me before. Like, personally, I don't
Ugh.
mind J.J. Abrams because, like I said, I like what he did with Star Trek. So that's my only experience
True.
with J.J. Abrams. Like, he did a really good job with those Star Trek movies. I don't think
honestly-
he directed all of them, if I remember. I know Simon Pegg did at least one of them. I
Mhm.
think he did the last one. I can't remember if
I think that's right.
the
Yeah.
second one was J.J. Abrams or someone else, though.
Yeah. See,
It was J.J. Abrams. Yeah, I
It was
remember.
J.J.?
I remember
Okay, yeah.
reading an article online, I think.
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, right. Because then the
Yeah,
third one he didn't do it because he came and did Star Wars. Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So like as far as Star Trek goes though, as far as I'm concerned, the way I kind of understand it is, I mean, with Star Wars you have a very continuous timeline, you have a very solid structured story. With Star Trek, an alternate dimension where these films can take place isn't out of the question, right?
Yeah,
So
I've been actually
when
watching Next Generation recently, and maybe the original series is a bit different, but because it was originally a TV series and not films, it was very episodic. So you could have these weird adventures that are completely different episode to episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
It's
also
very
it's like, it's not like they're messing with the original continuity, because they make it very clear. It's like, yes, this is a different timeline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And they're not
whereas
really-
you watch like the new Picard show, that's based in the old timeline with, you know, the original actors and everything like that, and the new films are based in the new
A little
timeline. And so to people who don't like those, like really hardcore Star Trek fans that don't like the new films, it's not like it destroys everything that they know and love already, because
Yeah,
that story is
true.
still going, right? So with Star Wars, it's a very tough like thing to juggle, like the delicacy of how fans actually take this thing, because you have a very solid structured story. So when you start changing things like bringing back Palpatine, it's like, oh well, that changes the entire ending of Return of the Jedi. Like now Darth Vader
true.
no longer kills the Emperor. Like it
that's a
changes a
massive
movie that's been
change.
around for 40 years. So,
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
like, that's why I think it'll be interesting when we get the chance to watch like Force Awakens, because I know that you dislike that movie. I think a lot more than I did.
I
'Cause
do,
I
yeah.
think we've talked about this before too. That like I think it's like an okay movie. But like my main thing is just that it's not very original. But I think that bothered me a lot less than it bothered you.
Yeah, I think there was too much about it that I just really didn't like, and I mean, as far as like having gone forward with other stories that take place, I think there's some things I can kind of let slip by. I had a huge problem with Starkiller Base, like a giant problem with a third super weapon.
The not Death
And
Star.
man, yeah, it was just ridiculous. I was like, that's just ridiculous. Like the whole meeting that they have with the hologram, they're like, this was the Death Star and this is Starkiller Base, and like they actually exaggerate the word. And I was like, why? Like just leave it alone.
Honestly,
like,
I think all that came down to JJ more than anything else.
oh,
I think
totally,
maybe the
100%, 100%, yeah, because he helped write the film.
What's funny is people like the original Star Trek. I'm sorry, like JJ Star Trek, because it felt like Star Wars with Star Trek characters in the Star Trek universe.
Mm-hmm.
With like a whole fast pace, very like almost fantasy-esque kind of adventure. Whereas when he did Star Wars, I feel like the issue came down where he was such a big fan of the original movies that he didn't want to add to it. He wanted to
Like
tell
remake them.
of the same story.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I think that's where a lot of the narrative gets repetitive and stupid, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I want to see something new. I don't want to see something that's already a classic. Like, it's like you're not making a new classic by remaking a classic. Like it's like and what angered me even more was the way that they advertised the movie as well. They advertised it as just Star Wars: The Force Awakens. They did not advertise it as Episode 7. And furthermore, they were build on top of that.
They wanted a throwback to Empire when it first came out.
Yeah, exactly. And then to build on top of that, there was news articles online that didn't know any better that were calling this new Star Wars film the Star Wars reboot. And I was like, that's not the way to market the new Star Wars movie. Like, it's not a reboot, it's a sequel. And it should be known as a sequel, not a reboot, because a reboot, clearly from how many Spider-Mans we have, is a reboot. How many Batmans we have, that's a reboot. like this isn't a reboot. And then when I went, I was like trying to convince everyone, I was like, this is not a reboot. I went and saw the movie, it was a reboot. It was like a full rehash of the same movie. I was like, what the heck, man? I was like, it just bothered me so much.
Gosh.
I was gonna say this time through, I actually, because I haven't seen it in a while. It's been at least 8 months, I'd say, since I watched it last, maybe more. Yeah. And some of the things that really stuck out to me that I disliked last time, or what I remember seeing it, didn't seem as prominent this time. Right. Maybe it's because I was chatting with you guys and I missed some of it, but I'd say the good stuff actually seemed possibly better, and the bad stuff actually seemed maybe not as bad as I remembered.
Yeah, I think the more you watch that movie, the more time it has to kind of sink in and really just sit better in your stomach,
Yeah.
Like for me, like I've like this, to me, this has always been like a good movie. Like the stuff that sucks, but like once you get past those parts of the movie, the rest of the movie's great. Like it's awesome. Like
so what you're saying is, once L3 is dead, the movie's fantastic. The rest of it's great.
Pretty much.
That's a good point. Actually, that's a good
Honestly,
point. I mean,
like. It's a little sad that there's not like a sequel, and that possibly might not be any kind of like a series going forward and stuff like that. Because for the most part, I really like the movie. Like visually, great Star Wars movie. I like we said from the beginning, like of like all of the new ones that Disney has come out with, this one and Rogue One are the best ones. Like
I agree with
like
that.
I think this one does this movie, like
excluding Mandalorian
stuff. Yeah, excluding Mandalorian, like compared to the sequel movies and stuff like that. Like I still think this is quite a long ways ahead of all three of the sequel movies and stuff. Like it had a great like original plot for the most part. Like it did, in spite of like some of the things we talked about, like the Imperial Academy and stuff like that we kind of missed out on.
Yeah, there's stuff that you could tell from the deleted scenes they had originally in the film.
Yeah.
And they, for whatever reason, decided that's what they were going to cut. But I guess we both had discussed, all of us here, that it would have been stronger to leave that in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like a director change issue where Ron Howard decided it was unnecessary and went this direction, or who made that call. Because maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, maybe it could have just been that, or like you I think one of you said too that it could have been like just like a time thing, like they just cut it out for the sake of
a lot of stuff just gets cut. Like I even think like Revenge of the Sith, there was like how many sequences like cut out?
Oh, there was an entire, I mean we talked about this during the commentary, but there was an entire sequence that would have multiple sequences that would have involved Padme's political senator friends.
Right,
and Bail Organa and Mon Mothma.
The creation of the rebellion.
The creation of the rebellion. Mon Mothma's part was completely cut out of that movie, but they used the same actress to reprise her role in Rogue One.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
Yeah, so if to the average kind of like viewer that watches the film, it's great as it is, but I mean, if you wanted to kind of watch the movie and then watch all those deleted scenes, they have 100% relevance to the plot of the film. They have great lead into, of course, the next films, having used the same actors that then show up later on, right? Like the continuity standpoint, and all the scenes were all finished. Like they were all
I don't really like when they don't delete the scenes, they were completely finished.
Yeah, they were polished.
General Grievous like executed a Jedi.
Yep, that was the whole actually that sequence. There was a few shots in there that weren't finished, but yeah, the Shaq T death scene. That was a pretty good moment. I think they decided to take that out to keep the Grievous reveal. Like to the bridge when they finally get there, but at the same time, I guess they wanted to shorten that whole thing with them on the ship, and
that's the point I was going to get at is for this movie as well. A lot of stuff that actually seemed to fit super well, maybe connect stuff together, just gets cut because they want to make it as short as possible for viewing audiences. Which is kind of funny though, because you see a lot of movies coming out now that are over 3 hours.
1, part 2,
that too. I mean, like you look at the Harry Potter franchise; they split the last book into movies, right?
Yeah.
And so, for good or bad, in that case, they could do something like that. But I would rather just have a 3-hour film, to be honest.
You see, that's exactly the way I see it too. I think a longer single movie instead of the alternative is the best. I think that's possibly the way that things are headed as well. I mean, you get movies like Avatar and Endgame, and it's like all those movies are top grossing movies of all time, and they are.
Look at Titanic. It was like 3 hours, and it was top grossing like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, like that's one of the things too, is to me, like Star Wars, of all the movies that could get away with like each movie being like a big, long, like epic, like 3-hour movie or something like that, like Star Wars is pretty much the one that could do it. Like when I think of franchises like Lord of the Rings or something like that.
They did it with Return of the King.
Yeah, like those movies are so long, and or I mean, like I can't remember how long the like Fellowship and Two Towers are.
They're not too bad. I think they're like 2.5 roughly.
Yeah. But even
let's look up the extended.
That's theatrical. The extended are obviously quite a bit longer.
Yeah, the extended of Fellowship is 208 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit actually.
The extended editions are so long, dude. Oh my gosh.
That's a little over 3 hours.
That's like 3.5 hours or so or something. Like it's insane.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
And that's like, the shortest one.
Those are the ones.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like they're like the epic movies do like so well and stuff like that. So at the end, like
I would watch the Star Wars version of that, especially if it was like the prequel. The problem is, I don't know if I would want to sit through a sequel that's that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends. It depends who makes it.
I could do it though. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like
I'd watch Mandalorian for that long.
I mean, and I guess it's based on like I'm still surprised that the episodes aren't longer as it is. I was very surprised in the first season. Each episode was, I think Reid actually brought this up at one of the round table Mandalorian nights that we had. And I think you mentioned it was just like so unexpectedly short. Like it was like 37 minutes or something, like the first episode.
Oh yeah.
And I think we were all kind of expecting like an hour at least, like a solid hour per episode, kind of like Game of Thrones style, an hour to hour and 10 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like a mini movie sort of thing, because there's only 8 episodes happening, right? So
right. I mean, that makes sense. You want your money's worth out of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, especially since too, like that was didn't we talk about how that like TV shows like had the highest production budget or something like that out of like any TV show ever?
Game of Thrones?
No, Mandalorian.
Oh, Mandalorian. No,
is that more than Game of Thrones?
I don't think it's more than the last season of Game of Thrones, but I know that it was still pretty big. Like it's up there. It's on the roster for one of the highest. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's super big. So it's like and those episodes are like half the time of like a Game of Thrones episode.
I think it was 10 million per episode, I believe. Let me just look this up real quick, but I'm not sure.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So
Disney.
sorry, $15 million per episode.
Even more.
Whoa, jeez, like holy crap, man.
That's a lot. Yeah. I know Game of Thrones, it's not that much per episode, but then the very final like giant sequence is always great.
The last like whole like 1 or 2 seasons are just like monstrous. Like the amount of that's going on and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it says the final episode of Game of Thrones was actually $15 million, but on average it was about over $10 million per episode through the length.
They have more episodes per season.
Yeah, they had,
and they have more seasons too. Yeah, so I think more money has been dumped into that show still. Yeah. But
even like just like when I look at like other shows nowadays, right now, like when I think about like The Boys or something like that from Amazon Prime, or just like a lot of the Netflix series. TV shows and stuff like that, like eight episodes is like become pretty common for those like shorter TV shows.
What's funny is that really came from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I much prefer it too, because when you look at TV shows that are 22, 24 episodes in a season, each one of them are 45 minutes long, like it takes forever to get through it.
Yeah,
and a lot of it feels like filler.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
you get a lot of filler.
Like watching Game of Thrones, I remember, because I think it like varies too, like the amount of episodes per season, and so getting through some of those seasons is painful. Like some of it is because it's just like not really that much is happening. It's just a lot of drama, a lot of like dialogue and stuff like that, which to me isn't interesting. I watch movies for the battles and explosions and stuff. So
spoken like a real prequel fan.
That actually makes a lot of sense as to why you like the new Star Trek movies as well.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, well, I told you too. I wasn't even a Star Trek fan. I had never seen or listened to a single thing of Star Trek before the new movies, and that was partly because my cousin was he's a huge Star Trek fan, and so he really liked them, and so I think he introduced me to them. I was like, oh, these are really cool movies. Like, it's basically Star Wars, but not Star Wars. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Explosions.
That's how a lot of people felt, myself included.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, I think a lot of Star Trek fans were really upset because they were like, oh, this is basically just Star Wars, but like,
yeah, and it's funny because there's like 40 years of them fighting which one's better, and then all of a sudden Star Trek becomes Star Wars.
Yeah, literally, like those movies I would argue did better than Star Wars.
I'm pretty sure it was the first Star Trek of that series that JJ threw in a little R2D2.
Yeah, flying through space or whatever. Yeah.
Was that JJ though, or was that?
Yeah, it was JJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've seen that. If you like freeze frame through,
there's like one frame of R2D2 like hidden in this chaos of
he like flies towards the cockpit or whatever of the ship while they're going through like debris and stuff like that of the Federation fleet.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Take that, Star Trek fans! The ultimate betrayal.
I know, right? I saw this picture. Because of course J.J. Abrams has been given like some sort of special license through Warner Brothers to work on DC films. And so I saw this really funny picture. I think I may have sent it to you guys at one point, but It's the, you know, those single panel cartoons in the back of a newspaper that look very yeah. So there was a picture of it was like J.J. Abrams's face on top of like a Reaper kind of thing, like, you know, and he's got one of those like Halloween, Grim Reaper robes. Yeah, so he looks like a Dementor basically, and he's got this big, like, you know, scythe. Yeah, exactly, a scythe. And he's walking out of there's like a door. There's 3 doors. I think one of them said Star Trek, one of them said Star Wars, and then one of them said DC. Both the Star Trek ones and the Star Wars ones were open, and there was like blood on the floor, like pooling out the doorway. And he was like, he had this evil smile on his face, and he was going into the DC door. It was quite funny. It was quite funny. Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
man.
I've seen some pretty good memes online with this whole thing, but yeah. Anyway, let's should we wrap this up here?
We've been chatting a while. It's probably good to wrap here.
Yeah, we're reaching about 2 hours and 45 minutes here, so I think everyone at home is probably going to be switching us off soon.
Tired of listening to this. Well, we talked for a good bit. We talked for a good bit before and now after the movie. So it's not even screen time.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. All right. Well, thanks guys for coming on again. It's fun every single time, and I'm looking forward to the next one too. We got Rogue One, so.
All right, man. Yeah, thanks for the invite. I was happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to doing the rest of them, and maybe even Mandalorian episodes when they come out for season 2.
Of course, yeah, Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
We'll be doing those. We'll be doing Mandalorian nights on a weekly basis. So you know, we'll do it after show style. So we'll all sit down, maybe sync up and watch the episode, and then
absolutely
do a chat about it after, kind of thing. So
yeah, that sounds perfect.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. And real quick words before we finish up here. You can get in touch with us at our Twitter feed at SW Escape Podcast. So if you have Twitter, it's the best way to keep on top of all the updates and everything. Just keep in touch with the show. You know, we'd love to hear from you guys. And if you don't have Twitter, you can reach us at our email, which is theescapepod@outlook.com. So feel free to reach out. You can also drop us a voicemail at our SpeakPipe address. That's www.speakpipe.com/Star Wars Escape Pod. Our host site is starwarsescapepod.podbean.com. And of course, we have the Facebook page up live, so you can find us in that. Just hit us up on there. You can also find us on Swell, new app. Go to https://swell.life. It's a pretty cool app. It's kind of like Twitter, but voice memo based. Keeps it under 5 minutes. Beginning some activity on there, and it's pretty fun. It's interesting. Small user base, but it's interesting. So be sure to check that out if you're looking for some new form of social media to get into. And of course, we got our Discord link. If you know what Discord links look like, it's on our Twitter feed in the URL section. And you guys are all very welcome to join that. There's some public channels ready to go. It's actually what we use to organize the show with. So figured I would open up a few public channels and see if we can get some activity on there. Nothing crazy, but we got some cool stuff. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you guys are able to help us out in any way whatsoever, 5-star ratings are the best way to go, as well as sharing this podcast with a friend. That's honestly huge help, and we'd appreciate it a lot. So we'll see you next time, guys. May the force be with you.